Good evening. Welcome to the June 11th, 2026 meeting of the Conservation Commission of Burlington, Massachusetts. This meeting of the Conservation Commission is being held in person. Members of the public are welcome to attend. Please note that while an option for remote attendance or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. So members of the public with particular interest in any specific item should make plans for in-person or virtual attendance accordingly. Now we get that out of the way. Would you, let me call the meeting to order. Yeah. Would you please rise and join me with a pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, let me take attendance of the commission members. Commissioner Indra Deb. Here. Commissioner Ed Laturco. Here. Commissioner Sarah Walensky.
Here.
Vice Chair Larry Cohen.
Here.
At the moment, Rob Sheehan is not here, and Kent Moffett is not here. And for the record, Chairman Bill Boyven is here. Okay. I have a couple items on the agenda that will not be being heard this evening. The first one is item 4B, 7 Abbott Park, also known as 51 to 53 Middlesex Turnpike, also known as behind Trader Joe's. DEP 122224, that is being requested for continuance to June 25th. Can I have a motion to allow that continuance to June 25th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, I got to go. I got to go through the roll call for voting because Sarah's online. How do you vote? Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Here.
Sarah?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so that is 5-0-0 for that item. And the other two items, 9 and 10, are both being continued to the June 25th meeting, and that was voted on previously that they did not plan to come tonight, so they have automatically postponed until our next meeting. And that was 85 Wilmington Road and 2 Wall Street. Okay, first on the agenda next is public comments. Is there anyone here for something that is not on the agenda this evening or online? Like the record show, the answer was no. That brings us to our approval of minutes. We have minutes first of May 14th. Has anybody had any comments or corrections? I hear not. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 14th?
So moved.
Second.
Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes, I watched the other one.
Okay.
I watched him,
Good.
so I'm good.
Ed? Okay. Indra?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so that's 5-0-0 for the minutes of May 14th. And May 28th, we did not get yet, is that correct? Okay, so that'll be up in the future. So next on to some real business. The first item is on Article 4A, 21 Peach Orchard Road / 26 Beacon Street for a certificate of completion on an erosion and sedimentation control permit. Good evening. Please
Good evening.
introduce yourself for the record.
Yes. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, staff, for the record, I'm Bill Proyer for the applicant this evening, and Charles Myhawk, the ownership, is here. He sprained his ankle, so I'm asking him not to walk so much.
So you're doing the heavy lifting for him.
Well, here he comes anyway, so he's a trooper. So quickly, should I just summarize?
Yes, please.
So this was a stormwater permit, essentially an erosion control permit, related to a definitive subdivision plan that was approved by the planning board many years ago. It was never constructed, and in fact, last week, the planning board voted to rescind the subdivision plan at our request, because we're not using the land in conjunction with the abutting property anymore, which was a plan long ago. And the plan now is just to sell this land as a single-family lot. So this will put it back into that status it was before the subdivision was approved and before the commission granted that permit. So we're asking that this permit be essentially annulled in a way that, in the method we have to annul it, which is the certificate of compliance.
Okay,
So, any questions, we'll be happy to answer, but that's it in a nutshell.
okay, any comments?
As he said, that's it in a nutshell. It did not get built. This is very unusual, just in that we haven't had really one of these, so we reworded the certificate of completion just to say, assuming you're okay with it, it's hereby certified that the work regulated by the above referenced stormwater permit known at issue as an erosion and sedimentation control permit never commenced. This permit is no longer valid.
Okay,
And just to make it entirely complete.
Yeah, it's really a matter of title, this permit is recorded against the land, so we're just trying to
sure,
create a picture of closure on it.
okay.
Yeah.
And we have no issue whatsoever with this.
all right.
We think you should do so.
Any comments from other members of the commission? Nope. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the article as read by Eileen for certificate of completion for the erosion and sedimentation control permit on Peach Orchard Road and Beacon Street?
So moved.
Okay, Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Larry?
Yes.
Let it be known that Commissioner Rob Sheehan is now here. Do you want to vote on this one, Rob?
This was approved for a stormwater permit and also a subdivision, and they never built it, so they rescinded the subdivision, and they're formally sort of closing out the stormwater permit. That's what you're voting on.
Okay, and so Mr. Sheehan votes yes, and I vote yes as well, so that is 6-0-0 in favor of that motion. Okay. Next up, 4B has been continued. We announced that. Thank you, gentlemen. We announced that's been continued to June 25th. After that is 46 Westwood Street, Michael and Brenda McCarthy, DEP 122-628 for a certificate of compliance. Good evening.
Good evening, commissioners and the conservation staff. I'm Michael McCarthy, homeowner of 46 Westwood Street.
Okay. And do you have anything to say about the certificate of compliance, or?
No, I mean, you folks took a look at the property yesterday, and I think you were satisfied with things as you saw it. At least that was my impression, and I'd just like to be here to try to close it out, I guess.
Okay. And we had some pictures up on the screen for, if you can see them. All right. Any comments from staff?
Well, just to remind anybody who wasn't there, this was, an order of conditions was issued 2020, a few years ago, for Mr. McCarthy to build an addition and remove a pool, and the addition was actually really quite close to wetlands. It was about 20 feet away. The commission approved the waiver based on the fact that the property was in existence before the bylaw, and Mr. McCarthy agreed to do some restoration in the wetland area and around the wetland area. I wasn't at the site visit yesterday, but Lucy took several commissioners, and I think that they were all pretty happy with how it looked in terms of restoration, and we know that the addition got built according to the plans, and the erosion controls, in fact, are still in place, apparently. Did you have anything to add about the restoration? Okay.
I had one question that I didn't think to ask yesterday. As part of this project, was there any replantings required by the commission?
What was required in the order was to plant some native flower seeds, which I did, but I put a whole bag full of them out there, but they didn't take.
Okay.
But what took instead was all the weeds that you see.
So it was like a wildflower mix or something like that that you put
Yes,
down?
exactly.
Okay.
And it was a native
Right.
wildflower for wetlands, and you had high hopes for it because I'd like to have that, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's, it didn't happen.
Okay, but you made an effort. All right, so any other comments on this issue? You
Well, he
wanna
did have a
comment on that?
wetland scientist working with him, and unless you guys saw something different yesterday, I know that the wetland scientist was happy with how things just naturally restored from the
Yeah,
wetland.
yeah. Okay. So it restored itself in spite of you trying to help it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Did well on its own.
Good. All right, any comments from the commissioners on that item? Sarah, anything? Nope. Okay, so in that case, can I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for the project at 46 Westwood Street, DEP 122628?
Second.
Okay, Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And Chairman votes yes as well for 600 for 46 Westwood.
I am
Thank you.
just looking to see if there was a bond to return.
Oh, yes.
One moment.
That's good to know.
Assume-
Yeah, there is. I was going to ask that question.
Yeah. $1,500.
Okay.
So assuming it got paid, let's vote to return it.
Okay, and there were no issues to hold any of it that I heard. So can we have a motion to issue the return of the $1,500 bond?
Second.
Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's 600 for the return of the bond as well.
Okay.
That comes-
And, Will, just a quick question. Will I receive something in the mail confirming this?
Yes, you will. The commission is signing this right now, and once we get everything together, next Tuesday, this will be formally sent in the mail to you, unless you prefer to come and pick it up.
Okay.
It'll-
And then the bond release will happen within a few
Couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It'll take us a couple
Okay.
of weeks just to get
Yeah.
it counted.
You'll get a phone call.
Sure. No, you can just mail it to me.
Okay.
That would be fine. And one other quick question. Are there any other filings that I have to do in conjunction with this? I mean, I had to go to the Register of
Registry.
Deeds.
Yes,
and-
you should, when you get this, you should record it with the Registry of Deeds, because that effectively sort of, as Bill was explaining earlier, the lawyer, it kind of takes it off your title, the fact that
Okay.
there's an open permit, because it's now closed.
Okay, so then I do have to do that?
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
Yeah, if it ever comes to selling the house or something like that, or changing the ownership, it's going to have to be resolved at that time anyway, so it's best to just clean it up
Sure.
if you can. Okay, anything else?
No.
Good.
Thank you all very
All
much.
right, thank you, Mr.
Appreciate it.
McCarthy.
Take care.
Thank you, have a good night, Mike.
Yeah, same here. Take care.
Okay, we're doing these two unless you need me to say something. Do you need me to look at bonds?
It's a great question.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
It's okay.
Okay, next up is a request for certificate of completion at 18 Druid Hill Lane for stormwater permit. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Langone. I am the property owner at 18 Druid Hill Road. We are here tonight to discuss the certificate of compliance for the stormwater permit that was issued for the new construction build.
Okay. What do we have for comments from our staff?
So this one you issued last year. It had an impervious increase of 18% of the lot coverage, which is why I came in front of you, anything over 10%. When we got the COC application in, the as-built did show that it was, that the actual increase in impervious was 21%. I did correspond with the engineer and confirm that the stormwater management on site is still adequate to manage that, so that is okay. Other than that, the site is stable. We saw, I believe I counted, I have to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is it 7 maples or just the 6 that were installed here? I think that we did require on their original permit, a number of trees to be planted. Not all of them and went in along the back of the property line. I believe just it's a space requirement thing. That you can clarify that in.
Correct.
Yeah.
I believe during the meeting, one of the homeowners was here and they requested
Yeah.
some of the trees to be on the property line, so that, I believe with the commission's
Yeah.
consent, we had approved it to be in that location as well.
Okay, that makes sense. From what I saw, the trees look to be healthy and doing okay. And a few years from now, they should be very nice. Okay, so that was it for that property? Anybody else have any comments on 18 Druid Hill Road? Larry?
The only thing I'd suggest is whoever you sell it to, maybe you can remind them to water the trees. The first couple of years is kind of crucial.
For sure. I know there is an irrigation system on site that
Is there?
it does hit the trees a little bit, but it might not be adequate to
Trees
keep
are
them
going to
watered.
require
but,
more than just a surface watering for trees. They want to get
Correct.
down to the roots, so that's a good point.
Yes, we can.
Larry. Okay. Can I have a motion to issue the certificate of completion for 18 Druid Hill Avenue?
So moved.
All in favor? Sarah?
That's probably the same. We'll just check.
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Rob? Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes as well for 600. Is there a bond on this one?
$2,500.
$2,500. Any concerns about returning the bond? No.
So the site is stable and everything is installed correctly.
Great. Can I have a motion to return the $2,500 bond for 18 Druid Hill Avenue?
So moved.
Sarah?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Rob? Yes. Larry?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 600 to return the bond. We're all set, Mr. Langone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is certificate of completion for 3 Brantwood Lane.
It's the same.
We have someone here for that?
The applicant was going to try and be online, but I know that he was,
I saw him online.
Was he?
I think,
Okay.
yeah. Sean, are you there?
oh, there he is. He's muted.
Or do we have to give people permission to speak?
No, because Sarah can unmute and mute.
Oh.
Well, oh,
Hi, everyone.
Okay, there he is.
Hello.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can hear you.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
This is Sean McShaffrey. I'm the owner at 3 Brantwood. Sorry, I wasn't able to be there tonight. I intended to, but I had a minor emergency that I had to go down to Cape Cod, so I am not able to be there. I am representing myself for this property. We had to implement a full stormwater plan rather than an abbreviated on this project because we went over the 10% increase in impermeable space. We were able to implement the entire engineering plan with some tweaks, which we submitted those to the board a couple weeks ago with our engineers' verification that that the system is adequate. And just wanted to see if there's anything else we can do.
Okay, thank you. All right, what do we got for this one?
Yep, I would second that. We went out on the property yesterday and saw that it was all put together and stable. One tweak that was made was that originally there was a proposed singular large chamber system. It got split up into 2. One benefit of that actually is that when you split them up into 2, there's more gravel framework around the system. So I think there was actually an increase in stormwater storage, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's a plus. Really, really low groundwater table, like really deep down. I think it's something like 8 or 9 feet down to the groundwater table at this property, so there's no concern there. Site is stable. Everything seems to be installed as to plan. It's a nice looking house.
It was a stunning house, yes. It was very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did
Thank
good
you.
work. You've done good stuff there.
Thank
Had
you.
no problems with the plantings at all? Everything looked quite good. Okay, any comments on this property at 3 Brantwood from the Conservation Commission? No?
Nope.
In that case, can I have a motion to approve the certificate of completion for 3 Brantwood Lane stormwater permit?
So moved.
Okay, Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Chairman votes yes, so that's 600. And was there a bond on this one?
2,500 as well for this one.
2,500, okay. And no reason to retain any of it? Nope. Okay, can I have a motion to return the bond for $2,500 for 3 Brantwood Lane?
So moved.
Second.
Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes for 600. You are all set. Mr.
Lucy
McSheffrey.
thinks-
Thank you, everyone.
Lucy thinks the permits were issued on the same day, and now their COCs on the same day.
All right.
Do these guys have exactly the
All
same?
right, thanks,
time?
Sean.
Wow. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. Again, apologies
Thanks,
I wasn't
Sean.
able to be there tonight.
Oh, no problem. Okay. Next up, item 5 is a continued public hearing, notice of intent for 11 Sears Street for the demolition of a dwelling and construction of a new dwelling, DEP 122-731. Good evening.
Good evening. Allison Muller,
Okay,
the homeowner,
all right.
and I also have Dan on.
Dan Dragano, yes, I saw that. Okay, hello, Dan.
Good evening, Commissioners and Conservation staff. I'm Dan Dragani, Engineering Solutions Group. Would it be okay if I shared my screen to share the plan to go through it?
Yeah, it would actually be better if you did. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, Lucy had just started, but you can do it.
Yeah. There you go.
Great.
Did you just make him a presenter?
Okay, great. Can you see that all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent, great. So yeah, I'll run through sort of the basics here. Typical single-family dwelling redevelopment project. So existing dwelling, I'll go to that plan first, is very similar in size to the proposed dwelling. We've shown the town's buffer zones as well. We performed test pits out on that site. I know you folks saw a plan from another engineer a couple of weeks ago. This is a different plan, completely different design and completely different evaluation. So we did our own test pits and engineering here. And to scroll into the proposed plan, the proposed dwelling, as I said, is very similar in size to the existing. It's actually slightly smaller. We're going to be bringing the grade up slightly to essentially have separation from the groundwater table and doing some grading in the rear yard to make that rear yard sort of elevation consistent with the proposed dwelling being at a slightly higher elevation. We're proposing storm tech system on the front left here of the property looking from the street. The impervious increase is very minimal. We're talking an 11 square foot increase, but we're still showing a stormwater system just to show we're putting our best foot forward here. They are a smaller variety chambers. These are 12-inch deep chambers, and we sort of provide a wider stormwater system there due to the higher groundwater table. There's a small patio proposed in the rear, a deck as well, and for the driveway, we've proposed a French drain along the edge of the driveway to collect some of that driveway flow. We didn't analyze that in the stormwater report, so that's an additional sort of stormwater benefit that we're not really taking credit for. We do have some trees coming down on the property due to the grading that's happening to sort of blend into that house at a higher elevation. So as part of that grading, we do have some trees that need to come down and are proposing plantings. So you can see here along the edge of the no disturb zone, we have two American hornbeam going in and 2 dwarf river birch. And then on the right-hand side of the plan, we're proposing a small landscape wall. There's 2 existing trees here. And the reason why we put this wall here is try to protect these 2 trees that are here existing, and then propose 2 additional trees along that edge. Again, those are those dwarf river birch trees. We're also proposing some small plantings as well. We have high bush blueberry proposed along that no disturb zone line. And there's also some existing trees that will be ensuring don't get sort of impacted from the construction that are inside that no disturb or very close to it. There's also some existing shrubs that are in that no disturb zone, and those will remain as well. Let me see what else. We're proposing overnight equipment storage outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. And other than that, pretty simple project. So happy to collect any comments, concerns, and thank you for having us tonight. I appreciate it.
Okay, comments from the staff?
I think that Dan did a really thorough job of presenting that. It was a very good, thorough plan to receive. One thing that we were talking about is the dwarf river birch versus a standard native river birch, and whether or not the commission wanted to weigh in on that. Because the dwarf, I do believe, is a cultivar, if I'm thinking correctly. But other than that, I think it's great stormwater management, a good planting proposal. I not a lot of issues other than the plants. Do you have any?
No, I know that so I was away, so I know that Lucy looked very carefully at the whole stormwater, and where was the groundwater? This all works for the whole groundwater.
Oh, it super works, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think he explained he was deliberately putting sort of shallow chambers in to make it work. So I think this looks pretty good. I'm just going to Google the, because I raised the issue about the dwarf birches.
Okay. Any comments from the commission on this project? Hearing none. We'll wait to see if Eileen comes up with something on that.
Well, we have been talking about this for some time,
Yeah.
and then there was an engineer change,
Right.
and we just needed to get some clarification. Just to remind everybody, we needed to get some clarification on the whole groundwater versus stormwater and how that was being dealt with, but now they're keeping it above the groundwater.
Yep, that was our main issue there, and that seems to be resolved. Mr. Degani, was there a particular rationale for using a dwarf birch tree instead of a regular size one?
Not necessarily. I think that's something we could definitely change on the plan here.
Yeah, if you can make it a straight native.
You know what?
That's what
The
we can
American
find out.
dwarf birch, also known as resin birch or shrub birch, is a species of birch native to North America.
There you go.
I stand corrected.
Yes,
Sorry
oh,
about
Okay.
that. In that case,
You-
Do whatever you
ahead
want.
and plant your dwarfs.
You taught us something. Very good.
I did not know that. Good to know.
Okay, great. Okay, so with that in mind, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on the project at 11 Sears Street or online? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the hearing for,
Would you like to?
So moved. Second.
okay,
Do you want to review the documents first?
oh, of course, I always do this, I get ahead of myself.
Well,
Let's do that.
just in case.
Well, I'll
You
close
can
the
close
hearing
it and then
first.
review it, I guess.
We can close the hearing and then go over that.
Then you can't.
That's part of the hearing.
Then we can.
Okay, then let's do that.
Okay.
Okay,
Learn something new every day.
let's go over the closing documents.
Kicking Dan off. There we go. Okay. So we have prepared some draft documents. These were sent out to the applicant. I don't know if you were able to review them. I sent them to, okay.
Yep.
Awesome. As well as to Dan. So these, and to all of you. You all did receive these copies. So, moving through it, it's similar to a lot of our other orders that we do, but I'm going to read all of the things. So this just lists the, gosh, it's so small on that screen, I apologize, making you imagine what I'm saying.
There you go.
Lists the applicant and the property owner, who are the same people. The project location, when the project was opened, when it was continued, when it was closed. It will be issued on Tuesday, should the commission vote to approve this project. The project is described as the demolition of an existing dwelling and construction of a new dwelling within the 100-foot buffer to bank. I apologize. Just can't, buffer to bank of an oh my goodness. When you read things not out loud to yourself.
And apparently it's not native, it is a cultural
Oh,
So,
well,
sorry.
we're all back.
Back to that.
Of an intermittent stream and buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands adjacent to that stream. Project also included installing an infiltration system for the house, cutting of 6 trees as shown on the plan set, and the replacement of 6 native trees and 3 native shrubs is permitted by this project. I usually highlight that just that sometimes we discuss it. This is just the filing history that says all of the details about when this application was put in, etc. This was just in case we received some extra documents, which we did not. So here's the plan references here. How much detail should I go in here? The stormwater management, as shown on the plans, we see an increase of 11 square feet, which is incredible. I love to see stuff like that. And stormwater is going to a field of 8 storm tech, low-profile chambers. Driveway is going to a French drain, and that is all good stuff. We're gonna go down to, in order to protect the wetlands, no construction will take place on site until the installation of the erosion controls is complete. Protection is important. Proper sediment barriers may include 8-inch staged straw wattles backed by silt fencing. I believe that's what it says on the plan. And if you change your mind there, reach out to us. We can talk about other things to improve, such as compost tubes or hay bales. Hay bales seem crazy. Let's keep on. The use of fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, and other chemicals is not great for sensitive areas such as wetlands. So you will not be allowed to use those within 100 feet of the resource areas except for when given express permission. Let's see. And then I should go over to the order. Maybe that's why I'm confused reading this right now.
I think we should tweak the wording when you get to it about the trees after all, just
Yeah,
to say
okay.
native, small native trees.
Okay, let me.
And we can talk about what would be a better option.
Great. All right, that is absolutely why I was tripping over my words. It was confusing. I normally start with the order. All right, I think so. Do we?
What are we,
You should start with Ida.
Oh, maybe
What's
I'm
going
wrong. Nothing, just chattering.
She was just having trouble finding the
Yep.
order, that's all. She's good.
Again, here's the plan reference. The proposed activity shall comply with the above plans. No change shall be made without any formal action. If you're going to make any big changes, please reach out to us. It might have to go back in front of the commission, hopefully not. This document should be included in all construction contracts and subcontracts. This order permits work within the 100-foot bank to an intermittent stream and buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands adjacent to that stream. No work with any wetland resource area has been permitted beyond this decision. Let's see, this is our boilerplate stuff in here. Did you wanna, should I keep reading through or should we stop and discuss things on the way?
Sorry, did we get to the 26th?
That's what I'm, yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay. So we did send this draft document to the applicant and to Dan, and there was a question about condition number 26, which states the applicant, successors in title, and project engineer shall be responsible for any damage to other properties as a result of this construction. The project designer shall be responsible for any damage to the property of others as a result of construction done in conformance with the project design. The question that we received from Dan was about just the phrasing of this, I believe. It seems to imply that Dan would be responsible for any damage to other properties that could go on during this construction. I think you reached out to John Keeley.
I did, I just wondered where it came from, and he wasn't sure. But he did have a suggestion to change it, which was convenient. Because I see what they're saying, I didn't get it at first. The way it's stated is just quite broadly, assumes that Dan might be responsible for any damage. Whereas an option could be just to say, sorry, I've got the wrong glasses on.
Yeah.
The applicant's successors in title or project engineer, if there is a design flaw,
Okay.
shall be responsible for damages as a result of this construction.
usually the design engineer is responsible for errors and omissions under their license. They usually have insurance and all that stuff. And that almost goes without saying, but if you could put that in words.
Right. I think it's always been, it's been unquestioned for a couple of decades, because I think you all know that it means sensibly things that are actually in any way could be his responsibility. But I understand his concern about it is written a little bit broadly.
Would it make
What
sense?
what does Dan think on how it should be written?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts were, we don't control the people doing the physical work. And so that was the sort of tricky thing from my side was that, you know, if they're performing the work and something happens in relation to that, we don't really have direct control of that. But as you noted, we do, you know, sort of hold that sort of errors and omissions insurance thing anyways, regardless of this. So I'm sort of fine with that end of it. I just don't really control like who gets hired to do the work and how they do it. But we do, you know, definitely assist them with making sure they follow the different orders that are in the order of conditions and sort of on that side of the fence. So.
Do you have wording and if we want to verbalize this, what the condition should say?
I mean, my request would be to just strike project engineer, and then if there was an error on omissions, we carry insurance, we have to be able to practice within the state. So that would be my sort of request, just to strike project engineer, and then that's already required by law for me to have that. We have it. We're not going anywhere. We love working in Burlington. So if anything comes up, just give us a call and we'll figure it out.
If we were to strike project engineer from the first sentence, so that it would say the applicant or successors in title shall be responsible for any other damage, and then the next sentence does say the project designer shall be responsible for any damage to the property as a result of construction done in conformance with the project design.
Yeah, I guess it's still covered that way. Yeah.
So the implication of the second sentence then appears to be like the errors and omissions kind of, but anyway.
You can just say that, errors where the design engineer will be,
No,
will take responsibility for errors and omissions. That's kind of standard language, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then it would mirror the language of the insurance, yeah.
I mean, Indra has that insurance. The same thing.
Sorry, you suggesting we add something in about the errors? I didn't understand what you meant.
I don't think you have to mention, but if anything goes wrong,
Right.
the person is going to sue the engineer. And if he doesn't have the insurance, he's in big trouble
Oh, yeah.
if there is a mistake.
Right,
Correct.
but it does, I know, I thought his issue was the fact that it was written so broadly. You do expect the engineer to be responsible for the design. If
Right.
that's something, as long as something is built according to the design, then he is responsible for the fact the design works. Like stormwater design, for example.
Yeah, and like in some cases we've had in the past where there was water draining into somebody's property because the design wasn't sufficient, then that responsibility would go back to the engineer.
Right,
Yeah.
versus just not built properly.
Yeah, there are two aspects there, design
Right.
and the construction. True.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, I think Lucy's suggestion was that we could remove engineer as long as the second sentence remains. I think that's what you're saying?
I mean, that's what I said, yeah.
Do you want to read it out again, just without it?
The applicant and/or successors in title shall be responsible for any damage to other properties as a result of this construction. The project designer shall be responsible for any damage to the property of others as a result of construction done in conformance with the project design.
Okay, so that says if it's done.
I agree with that.
As designed, then, and doesn't work, then it's the designer's responsibility. That makes sense. Okay.
Okay. We're all satisfied? Cool.
Yep.
All right. Going on down, we have some pre-construction conditions here. So you shall provide notice at least 2, but no more than 5 business days before commencement of activity on site. Prior to this, we will do a site walk, inspecting the erosion controls, making sure the DEP sign is in place, making sure the order has been reported at the Registry of Deeds and that your bond has been paid. And the next condition says all those things. That's what we will be checking for that. This again says the same erosion control conditions that were in the last document. Materials should not be stockpiled on site within 50 feet of the wetlands or stream, nor at a location that would allow materials to run into the streets. It should be at least 20 feet from the street. That does put you in kind of a tight spot. If that becomes an issue, reach out, we'll talk. Just because it is one of those sites, again, where the stream is right there behind the house. Any fill material, loam, or other loose material shall be kept encircled with hay bales and covered. No dewatering is permitted on the site. If there needs to be dewatering, reach out. At the end of the workday, the applicant shall mechanically sweep or manually sweep sediments from the street unless tracking and sediment is not evident. This is one that if you don't do that, because my office is right around the corner from your house, I will know. And then you will hear from me, and it won't be fun. So please make sure people do that. We reserve the right at any time to require additional erosion controls to be put in place, and I will say that if it needs to happen. No additional grading is approved beyond what is shown on the plan. This is the pollution control conditions here. Any debris, sediment, or other materials that fall into or enter wetlands or waterways shall be immediately removed by hand. Lawn clippings and other materials shall not be dumped in the wetlands. And this will happen. This will exist in perpetuity. So you may never ever put things ever there again. During and after work of this project, there should be no spillage or discharge of fuel, oil, or other pollutants. If there's anything more than 5 gallons, you have to reach out to us and the Board of Health. Any refueling should happen at a distance horizontally greater than 50 feet from the stream and from the wetlands. No more than 50 gallons of fuel on site at any time. This is some stuff about hazardous substances. This is again saying pesticides, herbicides, fungicides shall not be used within 100 feet of the wetlands or stream as shown on the plans referenced in this decision, unless otherwise approved by the Conservation Commission. Fertilizer may be used if it is a slow-release phosphorus-free fertilizer and has also been approved in advance. That's a lot. Stormwater management is 8 ADS StormTech SC3, nope, not 310, 160 LP chambers, as shown on the site plan. The driveway runoff is going to go into the French drain running the length of the driveway. This, again, is highlighted because we always talk about it. 6 trees in the buffer zone are allowed to be cut. 6 native trees and 3 native shrubs shall be planted per specifications on the site plan. Do we want to add in anything about, to say, regular standard tall boy, river birch?
Yeah, don't say per the specifications in the site plan, because we're, just say, we have some standard wording, if that's okay, just to say species may be decided in consultation with conservation
It's
staff.
already in there, yeah.
We're fine with the initial ones. It was just that those dwarf ones, we just want to talk about an alternative, okay?
Yeah, we're flexible on what we'll put in, so.
Excellent.
Okay.
So we'll just leave it at that. We will not sign off for CO for you to move into your house until the plantings are in and the site is stable. And this is some things here on how to get your certificate of compliance, which is required as part of your project to close out your permit. Let's switch back really quick to the bylaw decision, just to, there it is, over here and say all of those conditions on the other document are also included in the bylaw, and there's a proposed $2,500 bond for this project.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Muller, you have any comments or questions about that?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments on this property and the application?
I'm good with it.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to contribute before the hearing is closed or online? I see and hear no one. So can I have a motion to close the hearing for the application for certificate of compliance at, for the notice of intent at 11 Sears Street to demolish a dwelling, construct a new dwelling, DEP 122-731. So moved. Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Rob? Yes. Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, 600 for the issuing the notice of intent. Can I have a motion to adopt the findings under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for the project at 11 Sears Street?
So moved.
Second. Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Rob? Yes. Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, 600. And,
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Lucy, for reviewing that on short notice.
Oh, yeah, I gotta
We
do
will
one more
make a
thing.
habit of doing that.
We have to make one more vote.
We're still voting. It's never ending.
There's one more vote. Can I have a motion to issue the permit under Burlington Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act for the property at 11 Sears Street, DEP 122-731?
So moved.
Second. Okay. Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Rob? Yes. Larry?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, that's 600. Can I have a motion to attach the $2,500 security to the project at 11 Sears Street, DEP 122-731? So moved.
Second.
Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Rob? Yes. Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so 600 for the posting of the security. Now we're done.
Now we're finished voting.
So,
All right.
thank you very much. Thank you. Good luck with the project.
Will the papers be sent over to sign? Is that-
It'll be the same as I was explaining to the previous gentleman on Tuesday. These are all, everything you got today was, the draft was dated Tuesday. We will send that out, unless you prefer to come in and get it. And you will also have to record that in the Registry of Deeds and pay the bond before we will sign off on the building permit that you can get going.
Great, okay, yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Dan.
you.
Dan?
Okay,
Thanks.
next up is Article number 6, a public hearing for the stormwater permit at, let me find the right piece of paper here. Here's the address on this.
This is stormwater source.
236 Fox, 196. It looks like I printed the wrong announcements.
Oh, you,
I got the 2 announcements for the last meeting for some reason.
that's okay. We'll, luckily, I actually have access to the G drive, which doesn't always happen when sorry, the drive I need. We can open it up and one of
Yeah.
us can read it.
I'll just read it from
Right.
there.
How about I read that, since you're going to do that?
Yes.
Okay, this
All
is it
right.
right here.
Oh, you have it now?
Yep, I'm looking at it, I think.
I thought you didn't have it.
That says,
Oh, 10 Francis Wyman?
is that it?
10 Francis Wyman, is that the one? you
Yeah,
have?
10 Francis Wyman,
Oh, okay.
yes.
Excellent. Great.
But this is the conditions, this is not the,
Oh, I'll just read this. I'll just read it out, okay?
Okay.
Do you mean the legal ad, right?
yes, the legal ad, right.
I'm just opening it. Notice is hereby given, the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, June 11th at 6:55 PM in the main hearing room at the Burlington Town Hall, etc. The meeting will also be accessible public virtually via WebEx. See the agenda of the town webpage. The purpose of the public hearing is to take all information relating to a stormwater permit application filed by Langone Development Group for the demolition of a dwelling and the construction of a new dwelling at 10 Francis Wyman Road in Burlington. The application is being heard pursuant to Burlington bylaws, Article 14, Section 6. The Commission will review all information relative to the application and thereafter may issue a stormwater permit for the proposed activities.
Thank you.
Oh, we do, all right. I'll just walk around. Lucy's got to do all the talking again. She knows this better than me.
Okay. Jonathan, you want to reintroduce yourself here?
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Langone. I am the property owner at 10 Francis Wyman. And we are here tonight for the stormwater permit. We are proposing a new dwelling. With the dwelling, we are proposing underground infiltration system for all the roof runoff. And we have driveway infiltration as well. And all the the entire driveway will be pitching towards the stone trench as shown on the plan. I believe that's it. It's a pretty cut and dry plan on this one.
Okay. Eileen or Lucy?
Yeah, so we also went out and saw this one yesterday. Feels like a million years ago. Really tiny lot. It is 97, yeah, it's 9,700 square feet. So it is teeny, teeny, tiny. So that is another one of the reasons why this one is here in front of you. It is a 19% increase in impervious surface, and that is because the lot is the size of a postage stamp, and every house in Burlington is now giant. It's just true. They are proposing, I just have my notes in front of me, and I realized I was sharing my whole screen and not just this one. So let me fix this really quick so that I can read my notes at the same time as you look at these pictures. Hold on. They are proposing a field of 9 Coltech R180 chambers with a capacity of 456 cubic feet. Driveway is going to a 2x2 stone trench running the length of the driveway, I believe. Yes. An O&M plan was provided. This is one of those permits that on a standard size lot, you would not have seen this come in front of you guys. This would have been something that would have just been my review. But because the lot is so tiny, 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 it is here for you to look at. One thing we did note when we were on the site visit was that there was a whole ton of Japanese knotweed at this lot. You can see in this bottom photo, it's crowding all the way in there. I don't know that we have necessarily jurisdiction over that, but I personally would recommend dealing with that, especially as the house that you're building is going to be taking up a massive portion of this lot. That plant will take over the rest of the lot. Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. Let's see what the commissioners have to say on this 10 Francis Wyman Road. Ed, what do you think? Okay, Rob?
I was just wondering a little bit about if there's any proposed grading changes. In other words, I understand that the back lot's kind of undeveloped, and then hill, there's that sort of odd sort of road.
There'll be very minimal grade change. There is a little bit more in the front towards where the wall is. It will be coming up a little bit, but in the essence of the rear, it'll be very minimal. And if something does change, there will be a retaining wall. Like we proposed a retaining wall in the rear where the stairs are. If something is to change, I would potentially put a wall along the rear of the property as well, just to kind of contain any elevation differences.
And I guess for the, I guess maybe comparing the current driveway with the proposed driveway, because it looks like the proposed one sort of, the front end sort of goes is directed towards the property, and then towards the house it's directed, so it's sort of, going towards the trench.
Correct.
But is that like an improvement compared to sort of what's there currently, or?
So I don't see anything currently what the slope on the driveway is for current driveway, but the proposed driveway, everything on site, everything that's on the property will be pitched away from the street and towards that trench, as you can see with the grading.
Yeah, sort of away from the house, but also away from the street.
Correct. Yes, there'll be a small swale towards the center, like in between the street and the house. I'd say right near, like in the center of that, there'll be a real small swale that pitches towards the infiltration trench to collect the driveway drainage or runoff.
Okay. Indra?
Yes, as I see that the impervious area is a lot. It is right now 1950 existing, and the proposed is 3,800 square feet.
Correct.
So I'm a little bit concerned about that. It's a lot of impervious area, almost 40% of the lot would be impervious. The total area is 9,740, and the impervious area would be 3,800, so it's 39% of the total area. And so I have a little bit concern about that. I see that you have taken only one test pit.
I'm
How
sorry,
confident
what was it?
the test pit?
The test pit? Yes.
Yeah. How confident you are about that elevation of the seasonal groundwater? Because I see the difference, you have kept 2 feet between the bottom of the device and top of the.
I was very confident. I was there with the engineer personally, and I did the test pit with him. So we both verified the elevation.
Usually we take, that at least 2 test pits, but in this case I see 1. That's why.
Typically, I thought it was just one test per. Typically, it's one test pit per area of infiltration. So, I mean, we had one continuous area of.
Okay.
But I am very confident with what we had found with the soils in the area.
And I see the trench, the driveway, and the roof recharge and everything is on the same side.
Correct.
So you are sure that water will not go towards the Burlington Road?
No. When I had spoke with the engineer, I personally think for the roof recharge, that's a lot of recharge for the roof recharge, for sure. I would say it's typically overkill, but he said when he ran the calculations, part of the calculation is due to the size of the lot, and if this lot was bigger, a standard roof recharge would have been potentially 4 to 5 recharge units instead of the 9 that's proposed. So it is there's a lot more recharge
So you think
for the
that
same
there's
amount of
a
roof.
lot of factor of safety?
Yeah, so there's a lot of extra recharge. This house that we have proposed is a house that we've done previously. And when I've done it previously, it was 4 units, and right now we have 9 proposed. And he said that was due to the size of the lot, the calculation, so it's significantly bigger.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah, any comments?
One comment about the 24-inch oak in the front right of the lot. It looks like you're planning to keep that. I just wanted to ask about that.
That's not on our property, so I don't have any jurisdiction on that.
Okay, it's just,
Yeah.
I guess, on the borderline. All right, good to know. Thanks.
Larry?
Jonathan, did you say, I heard you, when you were responding to Rob, you said something about near the street, there's going to be a slight swale built into the driveway to encourage the drain. Is there any reason why you can't put that on the drawing?
It is.
It is?
So the swale, I mean, if you look at the arrows in the drawing,
Yeah.
it shows, the arrows are showing like the direction of water and where the swale is, like where the water on the driveway is going to go. So you can see like,
So will your paving contractor be able to achieve that based on this information? A lot of times we see the intent is what's on the plan, but then when we look at it after it's done, we're not going to have it rip it up, but
Yeah.
but it doesn't often look the same.
so I am the site contractor for my properties, and I do the grading before they do it, so I can assure you it will be
Got
to
it.
the plan. It will go
All
to
right,
the truck.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, no
that's-
problem.
Okay.
You're talking about taking one tree down. Do you have any plans to plant anything on this site? I know you don't have much room, but you got kind of a planting plan at all?
We don't have anything proposed. I'm not against replacing the 14-inch oak with maybe 2 smaller trees, or I feel like that's something that I could definitely discuss with.
Okay, that would be, I think that would be good to have something on there, and the rest of it will be lawn, I assume, around the house then, right?
Correct.
Okay. The other question I have is, I noticed that the driveway is wider than just the entrance to the garage. I'm assuming that's to be able to turn around and get out going
Yeah.
forward.
So that is part of the higher impervious area is, it is a busy street.
Yeah.
We don't really have access to do like a circular driveway anywhere, and that's really the only solution that we were able to come up with, is just to go a little bit wider with a little bit extra space for a car to turn around.
I would not want to back out onto that street.
Agreed.
But my question related to that, and you can assure me if I'm what I'm asking about, is that it looks like it would be easy for a car to drive beside the house, or a truck to deliver something or whatever to the backyard. Is it permissible or wise to drive on top of an infiltration chamber? Would it be able to support it?
Those, I'll have to double check. Yeah, so those chambers they are HD chambers, which it says the Caltech 180 HD. So that does permit wheel loads. The HD symbol specifies a wheel load.
Okay, so it could handle that load?
Yes.
Because it looks like, you just could say, oh, I'll just drive up there and bring something to the back patio or whatever. Okay, those are the only questions I have. This is a public hearing. Does anyone here have comments for the project at 10 Francis Wyman Road for a stormwater permit to demolish a dwelling, construct a new dwelling? Anyone in the public, online, or in the audience? The answer is no.
I'm interested in going back to Lucy's question about this Japanese knotweed. I would have forgotten. And just how he's going to deal with it, because that stuff is really tricky to deal with.
So I am familiar with it. I do know that it does, the root systems on it is pretty, it definitely goes down. I believe it's like 18 inches. I believe the root system goes down with the knotweed. But the real issue, and I saw it on the photos, a lot of it's off the property again. So I can address it as much as I can on my property, but once it gets off my property, there's not anything I can do.
No, I wasn't on your property, so I don't know whether it's going to affect the construction itself.
I had the same
Wasn't that
worry
close?
about it though, because it does leave the lot lines. And so it was one of my questions is like, oh God, what are you going to do about that? Because it seems terrible, but also you don't have jurisdiction over other people's lots. And like, if you clear the whole lot, which you will do anyway, as I've seen your builds, but it's still going to come back. I don't know, it's just a nightmare situation. It's a nightmare plan.
And it's going to be coming back to the people who buy it.
Yeah.
If we excavate along the lot line deep enough, I mean, it won't come back from, I mean, it's invasive. It will come back from the rear if it was like, but I don't, once again, I don't have any jurisdiction behind the lot.
But I'm not sure that you're right about the digging deep enough.
I think you can dig it deep enough to get it out of one spot, but I think it's just going to keep growing back in.
It'll just creep back in, yeah. Perhaps you and the neighbor could come up with a joint project to try to get a lot of it out, you know? I mean, that might be something they'd be interested in helping to support.
It's
I don't
mostly
know, just a
your
thought.
Yeah.
Can't order that.
I'm not against speaking with the neighbor. He is a developer in town. I could speak with him. It's Mr. Murray. But
I was mostly just curious about
Yeah.
the effect on your own construction,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
because it's,
I know I can do everything on my power to eliminate the knotweed on my property. I just don't have anything I can do with once it goes off the property.
Right.
yeah. So we need to remember about this.
Okay.
Two small trees. That's what
All right, so do you have a presentation?
I have a draft document to read as best I can at this hour of the day. All right, if you are prepared for that. Luckily, Jonathan Langone here has seen and read a million of these, so I don't feel like I have to be super in-depth.
I did read this prior. and-
Awesome. So I will do real bare bones here because this is very similar to the permits that we had actually for the 2 stormwater permits that we just closed out earlier today. So it's a lot of our plain standard language here. The findings describe the project as we just talked about, a new single-family home, getting rid of the old one. It's going to be an 1,850 square foot increase in impervious cover, which is a lot on a teeny tiny lot. The project includes the removal of 1 mature 14-inch oak. It's not within the rear setback. This is the filing history. It's formatted so weird, I don't know why. Again, we are seeing a 19% increase in impervious surface. Their rooftop water is going to a field of 9 Coltech R 180 HD chambers. The driveway is going to a 2x2 stone trench. Here is the estimated seasonal high groundwater is located 48 inches below grade. The grading of up to 2 feet is occurring at this location to allow for more separation. So there will be 6 feet between the top and the groundwater table. That will be great for the chamber installation, and I believe that there's a spec on the plan if anyone is worried. This is the plan reference. Here is saying if you make any changes, please talk to us. Copy of this permit has to be on the site. Prior to commencing any work on the site, you are going to contact us, and I'm going to do a site walk. It is going to be the same as every time we have done this ever before. And you will not get your building permit until I do it. Dumpsters shall be covered or emptied in such a way that things are not going everywhere. There should be no discharge, spillage of fuel, oil, or other pollutants. Cleaning of equipment shall be done in the foundation or in a concrete washout container. If there's anything crazy going on, hazardous waste style, you should contact us and the Board of Health. This is talking about the erosion controls as specified. Nothing can happen until those are in. We can always ask for more, and you've had me do it a lot of times. I apologize, and I will do it again. No dewatering. If dewatering is needed, let us know. Grading shall not be completed in a way that makes runoff go off of the property into other people's lots. Sweeping must happen. That sounds so not fun for you. I would do your best to keep the erosion controls up, to not have sediment go into Francis Wyman Road so that you don't have to go out into Francis Wyman Road and sweep it. Silt sacks. Ooh, look at
Oh, it
that,
says
Druid
Druid
Hill.
Hill.
Yeah. Can you tell I used your same permit? Didn't have to change the name. Road, there we go. Silt sacks, as are necessary, should be put in, and a,
One right in front, like nearby.
I don't know,
Okay.
it's obviously a relic.
Yeah.
If there is a catch basin, put a silt sack in it. And we are requiring a performance bond of $2,500, and
We were going to say something about adding, he said he would add 2 trees.
Yes.
He was open to adding 2 small trees. Where does that fit in best?
We'll discuss this cutting.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
where was that? Here. To plant it. In the,
Are you okay with them being in the rear 15? Is that what we said?
so I have no idea where it would go.
Well, we just said
rear
2
corner
trees.
somewhere.
Wouldn't it be in the
That's
front?
going to be a tight one.
Yeah.
Well, somewhere in the site, I think would be okay to say, because you're really tight for space. But it
Do we
can't-
have to put rear? Just,
No, I just
No.
showed it.
okay, then
Yeah.
we'll figure out a spot.
2 native trees shall be planted on the lot,
Okay, great.
Probably might end up like those, I'd say.
like dogwoods or something.
Yeah.
All right. And that
Did
is,
say small,
yeah,
so let's not argue about it.
perfect, okay. And I have fixed the formatting, the world will
Alright.
keep turning. That's it.
Yep.
This is the first night, so we don't close tonight, is that correct?
No, we usually do with the stormwater permit,
Okay.
because we're not waiting for a DEP file number.
Okay, in that case, assuming there's no other comments, you're all set with everything?
All set.
Bill Langone, okay, then can I have a motion to close the hearing for the stormwater permit on 10 Francis Wyman Road?
So moved.
Okay, Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 600 to close the hearing. Can I have a motion to adopt the findings under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for the property at 10 Francis Wyman Road?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Indra?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
And Larry?
Yes.
The chair votes yes, so that passes 600. Can I have a motion to issue the permit under the Burlington Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act?
It's the
No.
stormwater?
The stormwater, under the wetland, under the
Erosion.
Burlington Stormwater Bylaw.
Right.
Okay. So can I have a motion to issue the permit under the Burlington Stormwater Bylaw?
So moved.
Sarah, how do you vote?
Who's there, Bond?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Could I have a motion to impose a security of, what did we say, $2,500?
500, yeah.
No, what did we say, what was it, 25?
2,500.
$2,500 for the property, for the project at 10 Francis Wyman Road.
So moved.
Sarah, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, 600 on that surety. You're all set. Good luck with the project.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Okay, next up is Article 7, notice of intent for, gonna need the notice for this one also.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem. I think it's in your email, but this is going to be quicker. Oh, I've got to open it again. Okay. You guys can come up, I just have to find the legal ad to
Okay.
read. to
So this
read
will be a public hearing for the notice of intent at 129, 131 Middlesex Turnpike to construct a multifamily residential building. The DEP number, it says, is pending.
I'm just about to read this out. One moment, we will be there. All right. If you're okay with me reading it, notice hereby given the Town of Burlington will hold a public meeting on Thursday, June 11th at 7:10 PM in the main hearing room. As a courtesy to the public, the meeting will also be accessible virtually via WebEx. For the purpose of this public hearing is to take all information relating to a notice of intent filed by Nordblom Company for the redevelopment of existing commercial buildings into a multifamily residential building at 129 to 131 Middlesex Turnpike in Burlington. The work would be within riverfront area and the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland pursuant to MGL Chapter 31, etc. The Commission will review all information relative to this application and thereafter may issue an order of conditions and/or wetland permit.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, introduce yourself, please, and give us a description of what's going on here.
Chase Bernier.
Do you want me to go first? Can you guys hear me remotely?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. This is Todd Fremont Smith with Nordblom Company. I apologize for not being there in person. Got my schedule screwed up. But this is the 129, 131 Middlesex Turnpike project that went through town meeting recently and is before the planning board and now is before your board. If you could advance to the next slide. We're hoping to tear down 2 commercial buildings that were in the MBTA zone. On the photo, on the right-hand side of the photo, you see those 2 black roofed buildings. Those would come down. They're immediately opposite 3rd Avenue. If you go to the next slide. And the intent is to build 188 units of multifamily housing on Middlesex Turnpike, right across the street from the Bancroft. If you go to the next slide. So this is a rendering that you've probably seen before. It's been working its way through the town, the powers that be. This is a view looking out of 3rd Avenue to the east across at the proposed building. Next slide. And this is the landscaped site plan. A big part of the story of this that we told town meeting was, if you look at 3rd Avenue on the bottom left of the photograph, you'll be able to cross Middlesex Turnpike at a pedestrian crossing and then walk across the site on that yellow pathway all the way down to Great Meadow Road and then down to the amenities at Tate and Cava, Life Alive, and then the mall beyond that. If you go to the next slide. We've retained, as part of the design team, Copley Wolf Landscape Architects out of Boston to really make this a public park, a linear park, we're calling it, going as you pass from Middlesex Turnpike down the slope, down to Great Meadow Road. It'll be a very highly finished environment, intended to be used by the public. There'll be a permanent public easement. And Nordblom will build and maintain this. There is a state grant that we've applied with the town to Housing Works to try to defer some of the costs of this park, but that's going on in the background. The design won't change. If you go to the next slide, Copley Wolf has attempted to indicate some of the finishes that will be. This will be a very highly finished environment with benches and lighting, and it will be ADA accessible. And it will be professionally landscaped and irrigated. If you go to the next slide, they've attempted to indicate, some of the tree preservation efforts. We've mapped every tree on the site. We can discuss that with you in more detail. And they've tried to indicate just some of the finishes and some of the natural elements that might be attracted to this type of environment, in addition to people. And I think with that, I'll hand it over to the 2 gentlemen from VHB who actually got to the meeting. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Todd. Chase Bernier. I'm the environmental scientist with VHB. I'm here with Marco Mezza, who's on the engineering team for the design.
I didn't catch the name.
Chase Bernier.
I got yours.
Oh, sorry.
Marco Mezza.
Mark Gomez, thank you.
All right. As Todd had previously mentioned before, the site currently consists of 2 commercial buildings. We are working to develop that to demolish those 2 buildings and to construct a multifamily residential building in its place. The site's pretty simple. It's been pretty well developed for a long period of time. We do have a riverfront area that extends onto the site, as well as a 100-foot buffer zone associated with a bank that's actually across Great Meadow Road that also extends onto the site. So about half the amount of the work on the site is within those resource areas. It does meet the requirements for a redevelopment project. So we are staying within essentially the existing footprint, maintaining as many of the existing trees as we can. Some of those trees some of the existing trees are coming down, but we are replacing those with native species as part of the landscaping plan, both within the riverfront area and the parcel as a whole. I know the commission, or at least some of the commission, had been able to visit the site yesterday. I know you kind of talked about a couple of things in the field, particularly about the stormwater, and my colleague here is definitely more well-suited to discuss that than I am.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
Okay, one thing that I do want to note is that there is about a 20-foot grade difference from the front of the site at Middlesex Turnpike and at rear of the site at Great Meadow Road. So for grading and drainage, we are capturing and storing up to the 100-year storm for runoff from the roof and the surface parking and associated drive aisles. And we do that with a combination of proprietary water quality units, deep sump hooded catch basins, as well as subsurface precast infiltration chambers. On the front of the site, there's a small portion from the open space that is collected and conveyed into a rain garden and then ultimately discharged to Middlesex Turnpike existing drainage infrastructure. And the mostly pervious open space amenity linear park, as it was described, will flow into Great Meadow Road, almost like what it does currently in existing conditions. Chase mentioned the existing conditions of the site. There is currently no treatment at all, essentially. The stormwater is collected via catch basins and then discharged into the public drainage system almost immediately. And I do have a few numbers to share with you today. So we have 2 design points. The design points are the streets in which the site is bounded by, so Middlesex Turnpike and Great Meadow Road. At Great Meadow Road, this design point looking at the 100-year storm, we are reducing the rate of runoff by 63% in post-construction. And that translates to a 74% reduction in total runoff volume for Great Meadow Road in the 100-year storm. Now, looking at the other design point at Middlesex Turnpike, again, in the 100-year storm, we are reducing peak runoff rate by 36%. And we are reducing the total runoff volume by 32%, again, for the 100-year storm on Middlesex Turnpike. A few more numbers to present to you today. In proposed conditions, we are treating about 91% of total phosphorus from the site. Currently, in existing conditions, there is none. And we are removing 80% of total suspended solids, again, from the combination of the various treatment systems that I mentioned earlier. Now, regarding, so that's stormwater, and then regarding just our standard utilities, we have water, sewer, gas, and electric connections from Middlesex Turnpike and Great Meadow Road. On Middlesex Turnpike, we're proposing to connect with gas as well as water to serve one hydrant. And the remaining utilities, which is sewer, water, and electric, will be connected from Great Meadow Road, and that would be coordinated with the appropriate agencies and companies. And that is what I have. Any questions?
I'm sure we'll have some questions.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, Eileen.
I was on vacation for a few days, so I haven't looked at this in anything like the detail I would like to, or I normally would. I agree, just in that there's about 49,000 square feet in the riverfront area, and that's partly because under our bylaw, we count riverfront as being measured from the mean annual high water, so it does actually hit quite a bit of the site. But I would, if you don't mind, but it's up to you guys, I'd actually like Mark I was expecting you to show us a bit more on the stormwater, because under both the notice of intent and the stormwater permitting that we administer, we actually administer stormwater permitting, so we'd like to really see where you're talking about, where are the water quality units, where are the catch basins, where are the chambers?
Yeah.
Do we have that?
Yes, I think we sent over grading and drainage.
Pulled up.
Yeah, just walk us through all the stormwater control, how it's handled on site, please.
Is now an okay time to do that?
Yeah.
Or did you have
No,
questions first?
that's
Okay.
fine.
You're welcome to like walk up to that screen.
Okay, I will
It's also, it's a touch screen too.
Oh, it's not screen. Okay, I will definitely do that.
Yeah, too much bright lights tonight.
Okay, so here we have, I'll just click. You able to see that?
Oh, I think you might have to hit annotate up there. Is that right?
It might request. Eileen, is it possible,
Yeah, what?
is it possible to reduce the lighting? Because it's almost impossible to see the screen.
Yeah, you
Give
can.
me 1 second, I'll make it annotatable too. It'll all be great.
Let me see what we can do. I don't know which lights are which though.
Find out.
What ones did I just turn down?
All right, and you should be able to click annotate now,
Is that
theoretically.
changing?
Yeah, it's dimming.
I didn't go very far.
Is there a brightness on the screen that can be turned up?
I already tried that when I
Okay.
walked in.
The screen is very dark. It's
Yeah.
so dark.
It's
very dark.
It's
unusually dark.
This one, or?
You can click annotate now, it should work. I changed some settings.
Did that
Send
sound
the request. I'll approve it.
They're darkening the room. Did that
You're
help?
approved.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh, there's a picture up there.
Okay, so we have two separate subsurface infiltration chambers. These are 5-foot tall retainage chambers. There is no bottom slab so that it can just infiltrate into the ground. We have this one here on the right that captures this portion here of the driveway and adjacent parking. And then we have this one here that's separate that captures the roof runoff, or I believe, I'm sorry, the roof is divided into two, so half of it goes into this one and the other half goes into here. This chamber is responsible for everything beyond this last catch basin, so this stretch plus half of the roof. I mentioned that they are sized to capture a 100-year storm, so anything beyond the 100-year storm, we have these outlet control structures downstream of the infiltration chambers. And it was controlled with an outlet control structure, like a weir. So any storms greater than the 100-year that the chambers cannot infiltrate and store will bypass that and then go into public drainage. The soils here on site were pretty favorable. We have data from an older geotechnical report. We had some borings along this portion of the site that showed sand, which is great for infiltrating, and showed groundwater to be 20 feet below finished grade. Below existing grade. So we believe that these are really good areas for infiltrating. I want to also mention that This design is very conservative. Sand is classified as a type A soil with 8.2, I believe it's 8.2 inches per hour of infiltration rate. We were pretty conservative and assumed an infiltration rate of 1.02. So these right now are very conservative, and the design, the footprint will likely shrink come construction when we can go out there and dig up appropriate test pits. That was actually, which will be witnessed by the Board of Health as well. So we have water quality units. I don't believe what manufacturer we went with, but something like Comtech. And they are just essentially, larger drainage structures.
Where are they?
They are the last structure that enter before anything enters the chambers.
They're in front of both chambers?
Yes. So there's one here.
Yeah.
And then there's one here that looks like a catch basin. It's a water quality unit with a catch basin grate on top, just because we were pretty tight on room there. So those water quality units will handle the phosphorus removal and will handle will help with the total suspended solids.
Is the roof going through the water quality units too?
The roof.
Or does that bypass them?
Yeah, no, the roof is currently shown going directly into the chambers.
Can you show where the roof the output is on the right-hand side? I couldn't.
Yeah, so this is still, I guess, being coordinated with the architect.
Okay,
and
that's why I couldn't find it.
Yeah, so we confirmed with them that splitting the roof in half is possible. We just don't know exactly where it's going to happen.
Okay.
But we will definitely figure that out before.
All right. Can you go over the drainage up in the upper left of the drawing? I found that section kind of confusing. There's a stone trench there, even to the middle, from the middle over on the top. Yeah, right there, that stuff. Yeah, what's going on in that whole area?
Yeah, so that was a little bit of engineering that we did. So these two, so especially this one here, this is like the lowest portion of the site, right? So what we wanted to do to avoid over excavating and having these chambers already, deeper. These are 5-foot chambers. If we were to excavate even more, that'll bring up cost. So this is essentially a infiltration trench to treat these two structures and these two structures only. This is size, it's basically a perforated pipe wrapped in filter fabric, and then that is encased in crushed stone to allow for infiltration. So that would have to be, I think it's either every 6 months or every year. I have to double check our O&M plan, but that'll have to be, this manhole here would be popped up and then have to be like vacuumed out. That's kind of the maintenance for that.
Now, you said it's servicing two structures. What structures are you referring to?
It is this catch basin here right at the entrance of the site.
All right.
Because we want to capture as much of our runoff as possible. And then this one right here.
Okay.
Yep. And like this one here, this structure at the very end is an outlet control structure.
Okay.
Which acts like the other ones for the infiltration chambers. Anything exceeding the 100-year storm will overflow in that structure and then go out into public drainage.
Okay, but the normal less than 100-year storm flow through that, does that then go into the infiltration chamber?
No.
No, so that just handles a small area and does it by itself?
Exactly.
Okay. So does that part have any reduction, TSS, and?
Yes. So it essentially acts as it does infiltrate, and you have the fabric that holds any sediment or whatever is left behind from the runoff, as well as you have the deep sump catch basins that capture some of the heavier solids. And do you mind scrolling up just a tad bit? I want to say that this is also a water quality unit.
Hold on, sorry, my screen's having a stop annotating.
I'll have to check with my chief engineer, but I think that's also a water quality unit. Or at
Is
least
it? Oh, it also would help by.
should be.
Did that help?
Yeah, thank you. I don't think it's labeled as such, but
No.
I think we'll have to revisit. I think that has to be a water quality unit.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, comparing to existing conditions where there was no treatment, we're reducing and treating a lot.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got. Any other comments before we go to the commission?
No.
Okay. Sarah, do you have any comments on this at this point?
I love the park.
The dog park?
Thank you.
Linear park.
Okay. Ed?
I can't really add to it. No,
Rob?
not on the storm.
Yes.
Yes.
You got-
What is the net change in impervious area?
So that's a really good question. And I do want to say that we are in the middle of receiving comments back from planning board. So our areas might change a little bit, but currently we are about net equal to existing.
Net equal.
Yeah, yeah, which is about 67% of impervious area.
So you mentioned about the groundwater, it's about 20 feet below.
Yes.
Which you got it from the previous geotechnical report.
Yes.
Are you planning to get anything? Any test pit or?
We are planning to do test pits at the location of infiltration at the time of construction, and that will be witnessed by the Board of Health at the time.
And you have parking underground, right?
Yes.
2 floors.
And how deep? So I know you said water level is 20 feet.
Yeah.
But what would be the elevation?
Yes, so I mentioned earlier that there's about 20-foot grade difference. So if you're standing on Middlesex Turnpike and you look at the building, the first floor is flush, let's say. When you start traveling down the site, you'll start going, down in grade. Then the first level of parking will look flush, right? Because you've stepped down. And then once you reach the end of the site, the very bottom floor will be flush. So you're not really deep. You're almost like at grade at every entrance. If I'm making sense.
So the first floor, the floor level is flush with the ground level, basically, is that what you're saying?
Essentially, yeah, from the front.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So if you're standing at Middlesex Turnpike, you'll see the main entrance. You won't see any garage. At that point, you have 2 garages underneath.
Okay.
But when you're at the back of the site, you'll see parking, and then building.
So there could be a flood, right? Because of this large cart and the garage, there could be a potential flood.
What? Sorry?
The water,
Water.
yeah, due to that big underground parking, right? Or the garage, whatever you say. So are you anticipating that there could be any flood?
Oh, flood. No, we don't anticipate any flooding. Again, groundwater's pretty deep. The driveway, grades down pretty steeply to meet Great Meadow. So we're fairly above the surrounding.
So the floor of the lowest parking is still well above the groundwater level?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anything else, Indra?
groundwater.
Good evening, this is Frank DePietro from VHB. And
Hey, Mr. DePietro.
how are you all doing, folks? Good to see you. I do want to mention a couple of other items, if I could. Both Chase and Marco did a great job, but one of the items I know, talking to Lucy, that the commission is concerned about are the existing trees on the site. And so, just a little bit of background, and we can show you some pictures. So, the VHB survey folks went out in early May. We surveyed all of the significant trees on the site. Anything over 6 inches was considered significant. We prepared a plan that located them. That plan was then sent off to the project landscape architect, Copley Wolf. They went through and then basically looked at the trees and looked at the grading and decided which ones we could certainly save, which ones we couldn't save. And this is the plan they put together. The red trees are the ones that are going to go. Obviously, all those red trees in the middle of the building area would have to go. The green trees are the ones they're going to save, definitely. And then they were looking to try to save a bunch of the other trees, which are shown in yellow. So essentially, looking at this plan, the existing very significant trees along Middlesex Turnpike, which is the bottom of this plan, those 9 green little tree spots, those would be saved, be protected. We were as careful as we could in putting together the park area on the southerly side or the right-hand side of the plan to save whatever significant trees we could there. The one area we could not is where we're bringing out our pathway to attach into the new sidewalk that will run along Great Meadow Road to the south. So there's a cluster of trees there that won't be saved. Essentially, the only other tree that we had an issue with is one that's right adjacent to the parking. You can sort of see that. There were 49 trees identified, so each of the trees are identified with a number. So you'll see number T20. That tree would be unlikely to be saved. At the same time, we have a landscape plan that shows they're going to be putting in a number of supplemental trees to make up for, as best you can, the planting new trees, the existing trees on the site. And you'll see those along that area there as well. The landscaping plan is, you saw the pictures that Todd showed there, is really going to be sort of very robust and looked at bringing in pollinators and other folks and things like that, but I wanted to note that. And then just a couple of items on the stormwater. The Board of Health has reviewed and issued their sets of conditions. They will include, as Marco noted, that we will go out at some point before construction. We will go out there with the excavators. We'll dig down as far as we can. We'll have the soil evaluators there, also represented from the Board of Health. We'll provide that information so that we can verify that the soils are in fact better than we designed for, and 2, that the groundwater is 20 feet down or whatever else. That's pretty certain. And the top of the page, or the easterly side of the site, is really going to be trying to grade as much as possible to meet up with the existing grades along Great Meadow Road. The other item, sort of a future thing to think about, is there's been a discussion with the planning board, and actually goes back to the town meeting approval of this rezoning of the site for the MBTA communities, is that the path we're showing through the park on the left and the right-hand side of the site, we will, Northern Bloom and VHB will be responsible for creating a sidewalk that will run along from our site to the south, that will essentially, or basically to the right on this plan, will tie into the existing sidewalk that the town has built a few years back at the DPW yard. That will mean that as we get down, as you're familiar with the area, to the Staples driveway, the Brixmore property, there's an existing bridge. We will have to be putting in, as part of this project, a design for a bridge, for a multi-use path that goes over that adjacent to the existing bridge. Since we don't own the property, this is a town project, while we will be responsible for putting together the technical stuff, and Northern will be responsible for paying for it, we believe the town, probably the DPW, will be permitting this at some point in the future. And so we'll be looking to do whatever needs to be done for the mitigation on that. But the town will be essentially the applicant to you folks at some future time. We just want to sort of make that be aware. And that the other item that you probably have heard of, but at least to let you be aware of, as part of this project, as part of what was, again, part of the conditions of approval for the town meeting, the Novum Company has put together and is filing a Housing Works grant for future offsite improvements. These would consist of sidewalks that may go up along Great Meadow Road to tie into Middlesex Turnpike. There'd be off-site traffic improvements along Middlesex Turnpike, at the signals at Mall Road, at the signal 3rd Ave and 4th Avenue, sidewalk along there and tying into the existing sidewalk, and the crossing at at 3rd Avenue across Middlesex Turnpike. Those are items that will happen in the future, but we want to have you folks be aware that that is something that will be coming back to you, again, at some future time. Be happy to answer any questions on these items, the really smart people, Chase and Marco, can answer the hard questions.
Can't do it this way. Okay, thank you. Anybody have comments on Mr. DePietro's remarks? Did you mention a bridge? I didn't quite hear what you said, Frank. Did you mention a bridge?
Sure. So if you go down if you're heading south on Great Meadow from our site,
Frank, is there any
Just
way for you to
after-
turn up the volume at your end? I think it's at our end, but you're quite quiet. I think it's our fault, but I'm wondering if you could turn yourself up.
I will do that.
I think it's our.
Or just get closer to the mic.
Any way you could show a map? Because my understanding is that the bridge, or at least Vinebrook, is on the other side of the entrance to the Staples Plaza, and I'm not quite sure what bridge you're needing to build. I'd love to hear more detail.
Okay. So is that any better sound-wise? Okay, good.
Not a lot.
So if you're driving down from our site south towards Mall Road, again, as you're driving down on the right-hand side, you'll come to the Staples driveway.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Probably about 50 or so beyond that driveway, there is a culvert bridge under which the wetlands areas on the Brixmore property, the Staples site, flows into Great Meadow area. Adjacent to that, there we go, we're good, we have it on the plan. Okay, so you'll see the 30-foot driveway easement on the right-hand side, upper left, upper right of the corner. That is a driveway going into the Staples Brixmore site. You will see about a half an inch above that to the top of the page, the Great Meadow Road, there's a little berm or sort of wall on either side of it. Just to the, on the right-hand side, just to the right of that is an existing water main. My understanding is it used to serve as a water connection from the pumps farther down on Middlesex Turnpike that provided water to the DPW yard. It is abandoned. However, the DPW wants to be conservative and may want to reuse that pipe in the future. That sticks up and is probably a foot or two above the pavement at the bridge area on Great Meadow Road. So we have been in discussions with the DPW folks about could they lower that? And right now they're suggesting they want to keep the pipe as it is and not lower that. If they can lower it, we would put a 6 or 8 foot wide bridge adjacent to the existing roadway that would have a connection for a sidewalk on right by the existing driveway that would cross that and tie into, there's a tree just above the little red line. That tree is where the beginning of the existing sidewalk at the DPW yard starts. So we'd be looking essentially to have a connection, a walkway down at some future time that would allow you to walk from this site all the way down along Great Meadow Road, tie into and cross at that signal at the end of Great Meadow and Middlesex Turnpike to go to the mall. it also, going into this driveway, allows you, because there are sidewalks into the site, to walk through the site, go to Tate and the other restaurants that are just newly in place in the Brixmore property. There is a discussion with the DPW that if they don't want to change that existing pipe, they want to leave it where it is, we really can't go over it. We'd end up having to go inland, probably 10 feet or so from the existing the railing along the bridge area there. And we're talking about very, very conceptual design, but we're talking about how do we minimize any impact to that wetland area. And the discussion that we're having is we would probably make a longer bridge, go set back a little bit from the edges of the existing wetland areas, and build 2 parapets, if you will, supports, and then essentially get a bridge that you could pre-assemble, basically lower it onto the abutments, put it in place, and that way they would be minimizing the impacts.
This would look like a bike path bridge or something, Frank, is that what you're thinking? Yeah.
Yes, 6 foot wide with railings on either side, things like that. It's something that has been discussed with the planning board, with the economic development folks, and something that they're really looking to try to make this connection as part of a more master plan. Obviously, there's going to be things like easements we have to obtain from the Brixmore folks, go before the Conservation Commission to go through, minimize the impacts and things like that. So it's something that we are committed to going through forward with permitting on. And like I said, we can't do the permitting, would be involved in the permitting. This is something that some town agency, or probably the DPW, would have to represent before the Conservation Commission at a future time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, what other questions do we have from the staff? Anything else?
Not for now. Was it your intent for them to mostly just do stormwater tonight and move on to something else the next time? And I need to stop that flashing.
Yeah, if we can get a thorough coverage of the stormwater tonight, that would be good.
Do you have more questions about that yourselves?
Yeah.
Okay.
Larry?
Did you say earlier that there's no stormwater treatment currently on site? Did you say that?
Correct.
So, in the existing condition, that water is, some of it's running off into the street in Great Meadow Road, is that what's happening?
I believe there are a few catch basins.
At the bottom elevation?
At the bottom elevations, yeah.
And where does that connect, into the street?
That connects into, existing underground drainage system.
Into the street?
Into the street, yes.
And then the stormwater pipe discharges into the meadow field? Is that what's going on here?
Frank, are you able to confirm that?
So what happens with the existing stormwater system in Great Meadow Road, that runs down essentially to where that bridge is we were just talking about, and it discharges at that point. It discharges actually directly into the Great Meadow area.
Okay, all right.
So it discharges on the opposite side of the Brixmore, the Staples site.
And the proposed condition is all of it's infiltrating, or most of it? How would you characterize it?
I would say most of it is infiltrating.
Most of it is infiltrating?
Yes.
So the water ends up in a different place? The way it does now?
Yes. It'll be recharged into the ground.
Okay. And I assume that the groundwater goes from west to east. Is that correct?
Towards
Great Meadow?
Yes.
The field?
Yeah.
So is there any consequence, I don't know if there's you probably have an easy answer, you may not. Is there any consequence of, certainly treating the water is good, the stormwater is good, infiltrating it is good, but you're taking away a certain amount of water from where it now goes, and sort of, it's discharging underground closer to across the street. Is that going to affect the wetland at all, the loss of water? And I think I know the answer, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, the site, since the site is such a small area, any kind of loss of a direct discharge into the wetland is going to be a de minimis
Because the water discharge to where it is going is much larger from other sources?
The site is just so small. You know, if we were talking about like a 60-acre site that we were taking all of that surface, all that runoff and withholding it, that'd be a much larger impact. But I mean, the site's so small that any runoff that is being or will be infiltrated as opposed to be directly discharged into the wetland is such a small amount that you're not going to see a difference.
Well, I'm talking about the fact that it's going to a different place.
It's going to the same, essentially the same
Field.
system. You know, it's just, hey, you're now going to have pretreatment, so any kind of oil, sediment, all that stuff is not going to be entering entering the wetland. But it's all going to the same wetland. It's just going into a different place.
Right. I guess I agree with you. Okay, I just wanted to hear what you had to say about that. The second thing is there any contamination plume issues in the area that this site could influence? In the past, we've had certain things where there's plumes of contamination and where you're taking the site and infiltrating. A lot of times they say, well, you can't do it that way. You have to treat it and discharge it because the act of infiltration will cause the plume to migrate faster, push it along, or whatever the case is. So has the Board of Health told you, or are you aware of any contamination issues where an LSP is looking at that?
Not that
Yes,
I know.
we do have an LSP. Jim Ash from GEI is managing this site for us. The site is down gradient so there's no direct contamination from this site. A portion of the site is down gradient of another site, which is in natural attenuation. My understanding is that the contaminants are deep down in sort of bedrock. They're not going to be affected by the shallow excavations of this project. But there is an LSP on the job, and this has been reviewed by the Board of Health, and there are several conditions with the Board of Health with respect to this project, not least of which is a vapor barrier under the entire building to protect the inhabitants, even though there's a 2-level garage under the building. So but there's no specific source contamination on this site which would be affected by hydrological changes.
And there's no plume that there is a concern about infiltration. That's what I'm getting at, because that would change your whole design.
That was considered, and the opinion of the LSP, we can, Mr. Cohen, we can get you a copy of the LSP's opinion on that matter, but it did go through the Board of Health with Dr. Weiner, and he seemed satisfied that the technicalities were in order.
And Todd, that's fine. If you want to forward a copy to the commission, we can take a look at it.
Will do.
That sounds good, though. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
One question I had regarding that area again that I was referring to in the upper part of the diagram, the perforated pipe section. You mentioned that perforated pipe will handle TSS removal. Will it also do something for the total phosphorus?
Frank, do you mind taking this one?
Sure. To be honest, it will not do a lot. I mean, there may be, if there's sediment going out and there's phosphorus attached to some sediment type stuff, it will pick that stuff up. What we're basically trying to do is, because there's a relatively steep, so about a 3-foot drop off from where the parking areas are back down to Great Meadow Road, we're trying to catch the runoff that's essentially below most of the site and bring it back into the site for treatment. And so, again, I think minimal phosphorus removal for that little bit of an area, but it will attenuate the runoff from the site. It will also, again, address some of the TSS removal issues that would have been coming from the site. We can certainly get back to you that says this is 0.5 or 0.3 acre area versus the 3 whatever area that we're being in treatment on, and that overall this is a minor impact. But again, as far as this phosphorus goes, I'm not sure that just a leaching trench type thing is going to really remove much in the way of phosphorus.
So the amount of water that it's actually collecting and treating is small compared to the total site. And therefore,
yes, we can certainly get you that, the drainage into those 2 catch basins. We can get that and demonstrate that to you.
Okay. Thank you.
One of the fun things about a project like this is that everything is going to be brand new, right? We're curb to curb, it just all goes away, and Frank and his team redesign everything under current codes, and it's all brand new. And we've got a brand new management plan. So in a lot of ways, these redevelopments they're a good thing. They need to happen over time.
Okay.
That's just a metaphysical comment.
Okay. Any other questions related to the drainage? Yep.
Is there anything these folks need to provide us relative to drainage that we've heard or anything so that we have it for the next meeting? Is there anything you need, Eileen?
I don't think so. As I said, I really haven't had a chance to go through this. I'm just looking at the treatment train right now that you guys described. I don't have anything right now, but presumably they're going to come back in front of us again just to finish up with everything else. Do you have more questions for them just overall with the wetland stuff?
No. The points that I
There's
have.
one item, if I could mention, just to sort of a heads up. Like Marco or Chase mentioned, that we're in the process of being permitted with the planning board, and there have been some suggested modifications to the plan. These are relatively minor, but again, I just want to make you be aware of that. So we are showing a 20-foot wide drive aisle throughout the site, and the fire department fire safety officer, Captain Hannafin, has suggested, if you require, it might be a better term, that we modify that to a 24-foot wide drive aisle. So there'll be a minor increase in the overall impervious area on the site. That is not confirmed as a condition with the planning board, but what we would end up doing is going back in and rerunning our drainage calculations and making sure everything still works. And if there's a 40% removal, and I'm making these numbers up, maybe it goes down to a 39.5% removal, or maybe we make adjustments to the system. These are not going to change the overall project impacts, but I also want to make the commission aware that we anticipate some minor changes coming, and that those will need to be considered not only in the planning board, but also in your future conditions.
Frank, the current drive lane is 22 feet, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, because you said 20, and it's so 22 feet going to 22 feet going to 24. It's barely perceptible, but it is
maybe like 50
engineering
feet, something like that, or whatever it is, somewhere in that range out of 3.3 acres of site. But just want to make you aware.
Okay, so I got a couple items that I noted that you said you would provide related to drainage. One is you said LSP data would be provided. Some comment about the total phosphorus removal for the part of the drainage that the perforated pipe handles. You also mentioned at one point that they thought there was a third water quality unit in that area. Could you clarify that, because it's not shown on the drawing? And then if there's any changes from planning regarding the drainage because of widening the the driveway, you could fill us in on what that happened at planning. Okay, anything else?
No, just when do they want to continue to?
Yeah.
Based on all that.
Do you want to continue to our next meeting in 2 weeks, or the first one, the only one, in July?
We'd like to go as quickly as we can, because we'd like to start this project next spring. And we have about $1 million of drawings we have to do.
So I missed what the answer was. Is that at the next meeting?
We'd like to come to the next meeting.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Todd, we do try to line it up with planning as much as possible, though, just so that we don't like to issue something and then have them make a change that would require you to do an amendment.
Yes.
So that's what we're just trying to get a handle on, I think.
Okay.
But why don't we just continue to the next one, and if that doesn't work for them, then you'll just...
Yeah, we can always continue
Right.
ahead of time. So let's plan on the 25th.
That's fine.
And then if we need to continue, we can always push it.
Yep.
Very good. On that note, can I have a motion to continue this hearing until Well, first of all, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody here for this that would, from the public that would like to make a comment, online or in person? The answer is no. Okay, can I have a motion to continue this until the next meeting on June 25th?
Second.
Okay, how do you vote, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay. Indra?
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so 600 to continue to the meeting on the 25th. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Okay. Can you just handle introductions while I take a brief break here?
Sure. Okay, we have a continued public hearing. It's item number 8 on the agenda. It's a notice of intent, 7 A Street for American Maplewood Properties LLC. It's for material storage and crushed stone parking area. It's DEP file number 122-715. Thank you all for waiting. Could you please do your introductions and say who you're affiliated with, please?
Sure. Good evening. Chip Nyland, representing the applicant, American Maplewood. I have Mr. McDonald here with me. I have Andrew Pandolf, Rick Salvo, who's the engineer, and Bill Manuel. I'm just going to speak briefly and say thank you to the commission for giving us a little time to come back. I think we had a pretty productive meeting when we were here last time. We heard you, so we went. Mr. Salvo wasn't available, if you recall, so he's our engineer. He's developed a revised plan that has stormwater and a lot more mitigation and plantings. So what we're hoping to do is to discuss that. I'm just going to have Mr. Salvo start off and walk you through the revised plan, and then Bill Manuel will walk you through how we are in compliance, and then we'll be able to answer any questions.
Very good. That works. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Rick Salvo with Engineering Alliance. I'm relatively new to this project. I understand you guys have been at this for a lot longer than I have. But anyways, okay, there's the drawing over there. So we were brought on to do a couple of different things. If we could actually start with the second slide.
Yeah, you can go up there and point if you want, or if you need to, and we'll try to zoom in on it.
Very good. So our first task was to determine what the minimum area would be necessary in order for the truck traffic to be able to access to this site. It was my understanding that there was a request to try to minimize backing up and beeping on A Street. And we basically used a tractor-trailer turning movement, turning into the site and backing up, that would access those trailers that you see there, to establish what we would need for a footprint to be able to access the site. All that footprint, based on the site visit that I was at, was all sort of hard pan gravel. The hard pan gravel today exists up to the tree line, which is sort of at the bottom of the, very bottom of the page along that erosion control line. Once we established the minimum usable area, if we could go back to the other slide, we then wanted to show some improvements to this site to basically significantly improve the functionality of the riverfront area. I would note from the tree line back, this site is relatively flat, so it's not like we have a very steep slope where we have a super strong pitch, heading back to that riverfront area. That said, a lot of this area doesn't have a giant impact on that riverfront area. Nonetheless, we did come up with a restoration area that would convert current hard pan gravel, about 3,985 square feet, to a restoration area with a series of 40 different plantings that I'll let Mr. Manuel talk about during his part of the presentation, series of trees, shrubs, plantings, and then a conservation seed mix. In addition to that, just to try to improve water quality in the area, we've created a stone infiltration trench that'll be about 4 feet deep, 7 feet wide, excuse me, that would separate the restoration area from the existing hard pan area. The way that that would be built is the filter fabric would be wrapped along the top of it, and the top 4 inches would be top dressed with a washed stone. The reason why we do it that way is obviously this is not a paved site. There's no impervious surfaces here, so it is possible for fines to migrate their way down. And in the event the fines do migrate their way down into that 7-foot wide strip, it would get caught in that 4-inch layer on top. So we did produce an O&M plan, spoke with the owner, and he understands that as part of his annual spring cleanups, most years he'll probably have to remove that top 4 inches of stone and replace it with a new clean stone to get any of those fines out of there.
Fines in it is what you're saying.
That's right. So it doesn't clog up and it will still function. Like I said, these slopes, there's some steep slopes at the front portion of the site, but it's on the order of about 1.5%. It's less steep than the cross section than the crown on a roadway. So we don't really anticipate any really high velocities heading to this system that would drag a lot of fines with it. So that system has a 12-inch perforated pipe embedded in the middle of it just to create a void in there, to create more storage in the trench. And it will mitigate all the storms from the 2 all the way to the 100-year storm using the NOAA Atlas 14. Results in the 100-year storm about a 13% decrease in stormwater runoff. All the stormwater runs, from A Street towards the rear of the property on this particular site. There's an area in front of the gate that would need to be kind of refreshed a little bit with some stone, so we're calling out that area. The rest of the site really doesn't need to be refreshed. We did call out in an operation and maintenance plan just to make sure that the surface is kept in a good order. There's absolutely no filling allowed because this is a floodplain, but if there happens to be any rutting or anything like that, we would like that addressed and then the surface kept in a reasonable manner so as to avoid any kind of erosion happening at the site. So with the 3,985 square foot enhancement area, the infiltration system, the O&M plan, we feel that this actually creates a significant improvement over the existing conditions. I think with that, I'll turn over to Mr. Manuel, and I'll be here to answer any questions.
Great, thank you.
Yep, Bill Manuel, Wetlands and Land Management, and the key word there is significant improvement. On a riverfront redevelopment project, there are 5 standards that have to be met. Attorney Nyland has given you a rather copious amount of material for you to review as part of supporting the characterization of the site as previously degraded. And so we are proceeding on a riverfront restoration type of project. The first criteria that under 1058.5 is that you have to improve the site. You have to improve the riverfront area. And so, as Rick has documented, we've actually, remember where we started with the original NOI submittal to the upper right on the plan, we had those, actually was going to be, remember, platforms or tables where we would put the forms, the construction forms and stuff, and they were right against the property line. So now we've moved all it out. We've really tightened up the work zone to the minimum that we absolutely can work with. But we have included, as Rick said, 3,985 square feet of actual riverfront restoration, that area that is now consisting of hard pack. And it is open, and it is generally free of that vegetation that's worked its way in since 1996. And we are restoring that. And I have there's the layout of the plantings. It's a mix of shrubs and when they mature, tree species, pepper bush and witch hazel, which are common in riparian habitats, and then gray birch and quaking aspen, which are very common plants in a restoring type of habitat. And then the ground cover will be augmented for not only species diversity, but also for ground stabilization. It will be a New England Conservation and Wildlife seed mix. So that's 3,985 square feet. The second criteria is that, for redevelopment, is that we need to manage stormwater. And Rick's given you a lot of information to show you how we are managing stormwater on this previously degraded site. We have to be no closer than the existing conditions. And frankly, we've documented that from the river to the street has always been, prior to 1996, has been degraded. I myself have walked the site many times now, and even beyond the limit of the open packed gravel, if you go into underneath the trees and you poke I had a handheld soil auger, you poke that in the ground and the dense packed material goes right to the, like I said, side to side, front to back. It's all been dense graded material. And so the whole site's been degraded. We're not going any closer to the river because the whole site's been degraded. So we comply with criteria C. Any improvements, we should be outside the riverfront area or toward the riverfront area boundary. The entire site is within riverfront area, so we cannot be outside of it. But as you can see, we have pushed everything right up to the street and minimized the amount of site usage that we, to the absolute maximum. The entire site's just over 26, or the entire riverfront area on the site's about 26,000, a little bit more than that. We are preserving, not only restoring the 3985, but we're preserving the pioneering vegetation that you see on the right side and then the bottom side of the property. That's almost an additional, almost 10,000. It's over 9,000 square feet.
Where is that, please?
Trees.
To the right of the plan.
Trees, okay, you got it.
All the stuff that has been revegetated since 1996. That's almost an additional 10,000 square feet. And so we're preserving actually almost 14,000 square feet and of riverfront, plus restoring the 39, excuse me, my numbers are wrong there, preserving almost 9,000 and then using restoring the additional almost 4,000. So we certainly have moved everything toward the riverfront or the front property line as far away from the river as possible. And then the last criteria is that we shall not exceed the amount of degraded area. And of course, the whole site was previously degraded, so we've done one better than that. We've not exceeded it, but we've reduced the amount of usage on the site. So we think we have a good plan here. Plus, let's not forget about the floodplain. The entire site was in the floodplain. We started out with permanent structures, concrete sonotubes that were going to be proposed to make tables or shelving to put the material, keep that off the ground. We've eliminated that so that everything is on trailers now, and in the event of a forecasted flood zone, you could just move those trailers out. So we think it's a dramatic improvement, and we think it meets all the criteria for redevelopment, and we hope the commission sees that way.
Okay, I appreciate that. Very good summary of the changes since the last time we saw it. I mean, understand that you're saying that, in your opinion, this is a site that would be redevelopment, and that 1058.5 applies. But 1058, I always get it mixed up, but anyways, 5, it is 5. And the lawyer provided a precedent case called Algonquin, and that precedent would seem to support that. But we have found a number of other DEP decisions that actually contradicts that. So it's a little bit, we still have quite a discussion amongst ourselves. And it would appear that the main thing we need to resolve is whether this is redevelopment, new development, or a hybrid of the two. That's what we really need to resolve on this right now. And we have, the DEP information we obtained, there were several that said very similar conditions were called new development in some cases.
Well, I would like to see those cases. That was brought to my attention last time, so I went and I did my shepherdizing. I walked through, I spent most of my life in front of the department on these cases, and I know them pretty well. And those cases that I cited, there was nothing within those cases that said anything to the contrary. I provided you with a case. If there's a case out there, and I said this to you last time, if there's a case out there, I'm not aware of it, but it was very clear in the case that I provided to you, the wetland scientist from the North Shore said that since there was some topsoil and organics presently it was 2019, I believe, therefore it was not a degraded site. And I gave you on pages 222 and 223, I gave you the actual testimony, and the presiding officer found that no, it's not in 2019, it's what was there in 1996, and that's what the finding was. So I would be thrilled to see the case. There are a lot of people out there, circuit riders and others, who would like it to be different. But there's not a case that I've seen which suggests that anybody follows that in terms of the judges that are looking at those. But I'm always willing to learn and to see. But I think our point is, I think that what we've taken here is, we've taken a site that is not functioning from a stormwater standpoint, and we've added considerable amount of mitigation. So I think what we're clearly doing is meeting the intent of the Riverfront Act, without question.
Yes, and if this were determined to be a redevelopment project, the plan you are presenting, I think, is a good one. But we still need to define that to our own satisfaction. And Eileen has had communications with DEP about this particular site, and they're indicating that they disagree with that, correct?
Right. I have, as you know, because I've mentioned it before, I've spoken to both the DEP circuit rider and the enforcement coordinator, and they both have expressed that, well, a couple of things. A degraded area has a particular definition, including absence of topsoil. Are you claiming there's an absence of topsoil? I think that is what your claim is. If there was, what the DEP representatives have said is that if there is vegetation, if there's clear vegetation, then there's topsoil. And I'm just going to hopefully override this, become a presenter. I just want to remind everybody, if I can find where I had it now, let me just pull it up so I have it front and center. No, I still can't find that now. Where is that among my things? You see it? No? Right? Well, you could. You know where that is, too.
Yeah.
This is the,
Do you want me to share this?
yeah, why not? That is that from, yeah, that's exactly it.
I was looking at you doing it, so I wanted to click.
We have to, I think a few people are getting a little bit confused here about what existing conditions are, because the existing conditions that we are talking about are not the existing conditions with the violation in place, where you've ripped up a lot of soil. It's this. This was the site in June of 2024, right before your client bought it, and at that time, that was after the violation. Go back again to June.
I was flipping through. Come on.
Where it's heavily treed and it's got grass in the middle. Now, I could accept that that is grassy there because there's gravel in place still. Yes, definitely. But it really seems a stretch to call this a degraded site, because degraded implies there's impervious structures on site or an absence of topsoil. I also just have a couple of questions that hopefully you guys can clarify. Some of those were about some of the numbers. You said at one point in what we got last week that the riverfront area on the lot is 16,328 square feet, but it's actually the whole lot, which is about 30,000 square feet? Correct.
Yes, that was, as I was preparing for the meeting tonight, I realized I put down 16,328. It should have been 26,328. One is next to two on the keyboard. I did not catch that in my proofing.
But it also shows on one of the plans that the lot is 30,000 square feet, right?
Yes, but the lot extends to the center line of the river. The mean high water is.
Okay,
more
okay,
inland.
fair enough. That would explain a couple of thousand difference. So I'm a bit unclear about the quantity. I think you need to give us the quantity of area that's degraded. You are showing that the existing gravel contractor's yard, you've shown an area within the 100-foot and an area outside the 100-foot, and that comes up to around 30,000 square feet. Is that what you're claiming is the degraded area?
I think what we provided you with a history going back, the lot was created in 1966, and we provided you with a history of the warehousing and the storage of vehicles that's been
Yes, you
taking
did.
place.
We need a number for the quantification of the degraded area on site. That's what we're actually talking about in terms of development versus redevelopment.
So if I could finish, our view is that in terms of the way that that was regulated, was the entire site was for those purposes of warehousing and storage purposes. You'll note that in the definition of redeveloped area, the entire site does not have to be degraded. It says, the definition says it contains areas that were degraded. So if there were some portions of that site that were vegetated as opposed to the remainder of the site, then it's still previously developed riverfront area. So we haven't calculated the specific area. If you want us to try to do that, we can, but I'm not sure how relevant that is.
Well, that would be the 26,328, all of the riverfront on the site.
Because the commission still has not necessarily agreed that this is a redevelopment.
Well, I'm still waiting for a case that says that the existing conditions trumps, wrong word, supersedes what was taking place in 1996. And that's the reason I provided you with that case, because that specifically says that when you look at what was taking place in 1996, and I think I told you, I happen to have been around then, and the intention of the Riverfront Act in 1996 was to take a picture of what was taking place in 1996 and to preserve those areas. So that's why 1996 is so critical to the discussion, because that's what the legislature wanted to do, was to take a look and see if it was degraded in 1996, that was the kind of area that they wanted to redevelop. They wanted to stay away from pristine riverfront area in favor of improving the conditions for those areas that were degraded in 1996. And Algonquin tells you that. So I do know, I talk to those circuit riders all the time, and they say the same thing. Gee, Chip, it should be, if there's some topsoil out there now, then it's not degraded anymore. But there's no case that says that.
Okay, Larry would like to make some comments, too.
I've spent a lot of time looking at this, just like you have.
We all have.
Okay, and we all have, and everyone else has here. And this is a situation, after I read through what you provided, which was very persuasive. And it basically it sets up a direct conflict between what rigid Mass DEP guidance tells us and what the circuit rider and all these other people are saying is guidance from them, as opposed to a formal legal precedent from the Office of Appeals. And my understanding is that if you have to give weight of one versus the other, I may be at a little bit of a disagreement with some of the folks here, but I see the Office of Appeals, a judge ruling in a certain way, actually establishes a greater precedent. So the point of you citing the Algonquin case carries a lot of weight. I'll say that first. I don't know I looked at the actual case that you said, and that particular site, they were comparing historical stuff to 2018, is what they were comparing to. And in 2018, they were noting that it had dark soil and grassy vegetation and so forth, similar, least the grassy vegetation is similar to a lot of what we have on this site. That part is similar. However, in 1995, they noted that the photographs show a gravel parking lot with a component of petroleum storage tanks, and there appeared to be portions of the parking area, which they did have trailers and vehicles, and they had storage units on the site, and it was used for staging and transfer of coal barges. So I'm not denying what you said, the point you're making. I'm just saying that I'm not sure that site is totally transferable to this site. Now, having said that, I looked carefully at all the pictures, which is what we have to go by, and what I see is that the early years, I have there's a whole bunch of them, I probably printed them out multiple times. The early years, the site was, of course, heavily used. Like if I look at 1986, and then it goes back to 1969, the whole site seemed to be, most of the site was actually being used for industrial activity.
Right, warehousing, storage.
Right, it does seem that. When we get up to 1995, the unfortunate thing is that the picture you provide, and another one that I found, is very blurry and hazy, to be honest with you. It's not the greatest picture. And so, I mean, I tried to enhance it digitally, okay? And I took that portion of the site and I tried to enhance it, and other than gray shading, you can't tell a lot. I think it's indicative of not too far from what you actually show. What you're showing, where you're showing a restoration area, it seems to be showing some vegetation that's kind of consistent with what had kind of happened as the site got more neglected and less used up to 1996. It kind of looks like the first third of the site is kind of like vegetated, and there is some vegetation up to the right-hand side, which is what you guys acknowledge. And so we're in a position where you have proposed where a line is, and I think one of the first things we have to do is decide, do we accept that line as indicative of the best we can interpret from these photographs? Because when we were talking last time, we were talking about what the current site conditions are, and it begins to appear to me that you have successfully made the point, I think, that that the legal precedent is set by the 1996 condition of the site. Unfortunately, the evidence at 1996 is simply, I mean, I can't tell too much about it from this, other than it's kind of similar to what you were actually proposing. Now, having said that, I wanted to ask you if we were to adopt, and I'm not sure this is actually feasible, if we were to adopt that X portion of the site was redevelopment and Y portion of the site was, as of 1996, looks like it was new development, that it was undisturbed. Can this applicant, in your opinion, meet the standards for new development for that, by way of example, that 1/3 of the site? Can he do that? In other words, can he, I mean, I know he can spend money and do an alternative analysis to show there's no other more he can do there. I mean, I know he could do that, okay, but I don't know what that would get us. Okay, I do know, then there's a new development, there's a cap for alteration at 5,000 square feet and 10% of the riverfront area of the lot. So if that 1/3 of the site was considered new development, can those work limits for that portion be adhered to?
I think the problem is because the whole area is in redevelopment, you have to, is in a riverfront area, you have to work with that. And that's why I said it's very important that I don't believe that you have to have all degraded area to have a previously developed riverfront site, because as I said, I read you the definition, which is...
By the way, I agree with you. You don't
contains areas, and that's the way I looked at it. I mean, when I said I heard you, I clearly heard you at the last meeting and said, let's come back and we'll give them everything that we can in order to, and Mr. Salvo said he looked at turning radii and what it would take to move trucks in and out, and we've essentially given you everything that we can in order to make this site work. So I'm not sure we have to, I think we can reach where you're trying to get is, which is that maybe not all of it was totally degraded, but as a site, it contained degraded areas that can be treated as a redevelopment site.
I'm not sure about this, but I think the way the regulations read is if you are treating an area as redevelopment, a whole area, if we were to do that, and only 2/3 of it is degraded, then as long as you don't violate some of these other standards, then the other third of the area that you're considering, if we considered it redevelopment, is I think actually meets the standards for new development.
I will say we are very close. I mean, we certainly, as Mr. Salvo talked about, in terms of stormwater management, I think we certainly meet standards 2 and 3, and I believe the others. The work under A it's an improvement, which I think that we've demonstrated. B is stormwater management. 3 is within the 200-foot riverfront proposed work shall not be located closer to the river than existing conditions, or 100 feet, whichever is less. Mr. Manuel has explained to you that we have met that as well. Number 4 is proposed work, including expansion, shall be located outside the riverfront area or towards the riverfront area boundary and away from the river. Again, I believe that we have met that as well. We're going to be in the riverfront, but we are further away. Is the amount of proposed work shall not exceed the amount of degraded area. Again, Mr. Emanuel spoke to that we met that. And then in terms of we're proposing restoration, the alteration is allowed. We are proposing restoration. So, maybe it is that we do meet those. I haven't looked at trying to meet those, but it looks to me as if we do.
I'm wondering if...
Did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to add, so if you take a snapshot of the site today, and unfortunately I didn't have the ability to see the site before whatever violations took place, but looking at the site today, there's 17,200 square feet that appears to be degraded. That's from the area from the current tree line out to the road. We're proposing to restore 3,985 square feet of that and use 13,215 square feet of that. So that's how those numbers that you're talking about, if you were to apply the site as it exists today, those are the exact numbers. 17,200 is what's currently degraded. 3,985 of that gets restored, and 13,250 of that gets utilized.
And 9,000 of it's being preserved on the right side.
If I may.
Yeah, that's the balance of the...
That's the difference between the 17 and the 26. Right.
Okay.
So the reason that this image here from 2024 is so significant is because right now we're talking about existing conditions, and this is the existing conditions that we need to be referencing for this project, because this was the site directly before an enforcement order was issued. So these are the existing conditions that pertain. And so I don't think that it's necessarily correct to be discussing this site as it currently is, as what is existing, regardless of the fact that it is what is existing, because the applicant chose to pursue a notice of intent instead of doing restoration directly following this enforcement order. And I don't know, I think where we're getting tangled up, it seems like, in existing conditions versus 1995, et cetera, and degradation and all of these things. But like when I look at this site, this is what it was directly before an enforcement order, a violation was issued. And so if we're talking about no closer than existing, we should be looking at this aerial.
No, I completely disagree. The regulations are crystal clear. If you look at 1996, you don't look at existing conditions.
And that's what Algonquin says, and that's what other people have argued, and not successfully. They may tell you that anecdotally. They may wish that that's the way that it was, but that's not the way that it was written. And as I said, I was around when the legislature was doing this, and I understand what the intent was before you were born, I imagine.
It's very clear right in the definition, areas degraded prior to August 7th, 1996.
That's the existing conditions.
And I do agree with you, though, the enforcement, that's a different question than I mean, and I think we did take steps to remove piles from that in order to comply with the enforcement order, and then it was time to also come to the commission in terms of what they wanted to do. So I thought that was appropriate. But
Right, they were encouraged, after Tim speaking with your office, was encouraged to apply for the, file the NOI for future use.
I guess, to me, I'm looking at it as that it's a legal fact that if the applicant proves that there's credible evidence that the site meets the definition of degraded based on the historical photographs, then prior to August 7th, 1996, then it legally qualifies as a previously developed riverfront area. And that's the point you made with that case.
Regardless of what happens since.
Regardless of what happened since then. I think the only thing where it's a little bit unknown, the 1996 is a little bit not real clear. Actually, some of the photographs from earlier where it was heavily used is more clear. So I'm wondering, I think we're in a position, does the commission agree you've sort of drawn the line for the restoration? And if you gave back more of restoration, does that mean he can't conduct this owner can't conduct his business? Is that what that means?
yeah, as I said, we're not nickel and diming here. We have better things to do, and the commission has better things to do than to go step by step. So our view was give everything that we can. Pick an area that you need in order to conduct your business in terms of the truck turning, what radii you needed to get in and out of that, what configuration, and everything else was off the table for work, and that's why we have the restoration, plus we have the addition of the almost 4,000 square feet.
Let me ask you something. What you have said is on the upper right-hand side, closer to the road, to the right-hand side of the lot, you're going to maintain the tree lines and so forth.
Correct.
The owner is here hearing that, and if he was there, he would supervise it every minute of the day when things are happening. But how do we ensure that actually gets preserved? I think it's a very significant amount of stuff. Do we put some signage up, or do we put...
A lot of commissions have a placard that you put either a bollard in the ground with a placard on it or something like that, and that's easily done.
That tells...
There's a second thing we could do, which is we could put a deed restriction on that. Now, there are two types of restrictions you deal with. One is the one that has to go through the Commonwealth. That takes a long time. I'm not sure that would be warranted here, but clearly we could put a deed restriction so there'd be notice to any subsequent buyer or to the world in terms of where that area was to be preserved and not to be used. So we could do both. We could do the placard for the immediate visibility, then you could have your restriction so the future buyers would know exactly what could be used there.
And that would include the treat area on the upper right on the picture and the restored area?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, and I just want to point out, just so that nobody feels like we tried to pull the wool over your eyes, Andrew has pointed out to me that there is a small triangular area of vegetation that will be removed. I just really wanted to square that area off. But
Where is that on this?
That's short of the tree line, though, right, Bill?
There's a little bit of tree line that's going to be moved
a
back
little bit
here,
of
basically.
shrubby stuff.
This is the proposed tree line, this is the
Right.
current tree line.
Yeah.
Bill, can I ask a question just to clarify something on this,
Yeah.
on this plan? This area down here, so I'm not sure you can see my
Yeah, I can see it.
arrow very well. So below the 100-foot, but above, plan above, plan below, above the restoration area, what material is that?
I'm going to have to defer to,
What's the surface?
That right now is a hard pan.
Yeah, that's the hard-
What are you proposing to make that surface?
The same.
we'll keep it the
as right
same.
now. Pervious gravel surface.
So you're going to let the grass
leave
go back
this
in the way it was before the violation? Is that
Well,
what you're saying?
don't forget, I think there was a golf course company that was here before, which is probably.
No, there wasn't, they were not
reason for
allowed,
the-
they were not allowed to, they did not get a permit to.
Well,
They stored turf, they stored materials, right?
They stored grass seed pellets on that. There's still actually, I don't know if I should interject.
You intend to use that area, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's going to be maintained.
Use this area within the 100 foot?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought this was the only area this was.
because we were going to be able to go truck it.
This and this is deed restricted.
Yeah, it pulls all the way down.
Anybody else can only use it.
Huh?
The question now is,
Because it needs to maneuver back into that bottom trailer space too. We didn't show every single backup maneuver, but it has to go into each one of those trailer spaces.
Right, but it doesn't need to go in there.
That's the area that we would like to continue to use.
Let's hear from the other commissioners first. Okay, can we hear from some of the other commissioners now to see if there's any other opinions here? Sarah, what do you have to say on this? Anything?
In my opinion, this is a really challenging edge case, and you can make a good argument in a number of different directions.
Yep.
The plan I see before me seems like a decent compromise. I am satisfied with it and would like to end this discussion.
And do what? Accept the conditions as he's proposing?
Pretty much.
Okay. Indra, how about you?
Yeah, same thing with what Sarah said, yeah, I agree with her.
So we're basically accepting that this is a redevelopment project.
That's two people so far.
Two people, I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying, is I'm rephrasing what you are saying, what you're both saying. Okay.
Partly redevelopment.
And what part is not? I mean, that's another thing.
I liked what Larry said about, like, you know, you look in that ancient blurry photograph and you see the trees kind of filling in the bottom third and the right-hand side, and that's sort of kind of what we have here. I don't think we're going to get a nice, bright, clear answer that's going to please everybody. I think we're just going to have to pick something in the middle that irritates everyone.
If everyone is equally unhappy, that's the best decision, right? Ed, what have you got to say on this?
It's all starting to make a little bit more sense. I think just that direction that Sarah is referring to seems to be, you got to come up with something that's basically, it's workable in both sides. I don't see any easy answer. It's like having a sandbox in your backyard for kids, and all of a sudden the rabbits own it. You know, go make the rabbits happy and the sandbox do what it's got to do.
Okay. Rob?
I mean, I agree. I think it's somewhat complex for both the use of the site for storage, but then also, you know, the desire for the commission to protect the riverfront. And it is a somewhat complicated site as well. I mean, I was looking back, and I think October 21st, 1996, I think the site flooded. There was an RAO issued for 11 A Street on February 18th, 1997. I think this would be the golf company for a pesticide release. It looks like at that point, they've possibly stopped storing their materials on the site. It's not sort of exactly clear reading what their description of it is. So I think it's, you know, for the current owner, the current usage, it seems like it, like I agree with Sarah that the usage, you know, there should be some usage there, but I also think that like the restoration and some type of order for the work separating to protect it would be beneficial as well.
Okay, Larry?
Yeah. I think Mr. Nyland, we're in a position where we've looked at all the historical photographs. We have to make a decision. It is unfortunate that the 1995 photograph, two of them are probably the least clear compared to either the real old ones or more of the new ones. That's very unfortunate. But I will say that I think we can't keep going through this and have this gentleman spend money on all these people being here. So I think we have to, at our point where we have to make a decision. So if I had to make a decision right now, I would say that what you have is you've done a good job with your approach to the site for the restoration. I think having the signage for both places and the right for the preserve the trees, for the operations, people to be aware of it, the conservation restriction, I think, means a lot. So my decision would be that I think you folks have gave us everything you have. You've made it a good attempt at trying to satisfy the commission, and I think what you have is a reasonable plan.
Yeah, as I said, and to the member, it's almost a common sense. If you know that you had industrial development before and you see it afterwards, there was that, that really encompasses to me the August of 1996 almost by default.
It's just the snapshot of 1996, and even a little bit before that shows a lot of tree line, but it actually shows pretty much where your restoration area is.
Correct. And I think we're consistent with that, and that's what we tried to do to come back to this.
Yes, sir.
In my opinion, no matter what we call this site, in terms of development or new development and redevelopment or hybrid, you're not going to come up with a better plan than what we have in front of us now for balancing use and restoration of the site and preservation of the restoration of the site. So I think I'm agreeing with Larry that this is, to me, I would find this to be acceptable.
The last thing I would say is, to that point, I think you can come to a conclusion using the definition. You have a redevelopment site that contains degraded areas and non-degraded areas. So you don't have to come to a conclusion the entire site was degraded in 1996. We can use the 17,200 and then use the 9,000 as the other piece. So you're not saying that it's entirely degraded, but it's a redevelopment site. I think you can, and I think that would be consistent with what I hear everyone saying.
Okay. This is, anything else you want to say?
That just sounded like the opposite of what he said to me earlier, so I was just...
No, it's not.
No? Okay.
No. You asked for a number. I said the entire site was degraded in terms of the way that I see it can be regulated, but I'm trying to reach an agreement with the commission who sees that there are certain areas that were treed at the time. So
Which is what we were trying to ask for, by asking for a number on the...
And Mr. Salvo stood up behind me and gave you that number, the 17.2 versus, and then, which leaves another 9,000 to get to the total of 26.
Okay.
We are also still waiting for them to, I believe, open with the planning board?
Yes, that's the next step, is that we're not going to close until we hear what the planning board has to say, in case they say, no, we don't like that plan at all. So we will have to continue until we see what they say. When are you coming in front of the planning board?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm smart enough to know what I don't know, but I think that this is a pre-existing non-conforming use, and I think the question is whether or not we would need to get a permit from them. I don't think that that's been determined, but my problem is I've got a little ping pong, because I think that the planning board would like to see where you're coming from before they look at that. So
we will tell them, we will report to them a summary of what happens tonight.
My understanding is that they will need a special permit for outdoor storage of supplies and equipment, and a site plan to show the usage and location of materials. And when they had last spoken to the planning board about that in April.
Right, so I do know that we...
Planning staff, I'm sorry.
I know that we are talking to them about that.
Good.
Okay.
So I think, would you say, Mr. Chair, we have a plan forward on what we see here?
I would, based on any, regarding any input from the planning board that might change it. I think that from what I heard from the commissioners, we would endorse this plan as submitted.
Right, and it's also fair to say that I think this particular owner should be commended for this has been from a regulatory perspective for us, has been very difficult. We don't often see stuff like this, and his willingness to, even though it took some time, to keep going after it is to be commended.
I think he appreciates that, because we were pretty hard on him as well. I mean, I heard you at the last meeting, and I think we did come back with, and I appreciate the commission acknowledging with a much better plan.
Okay, so I guess we'll we're going to continue
Yes.
until some date? Is that the idea?
I would propose continuing this until the next meeting, or?
Yeah, I just don't want to have to continue indefinitely, because then I would have to, re-advertise on that. So I think we should continue to a date certain, if you wouldn't
Okay,
mind.
we can continue to the next meeting on June 25th.
Well,
and then
they won't be able to go before planning until July.
I would agree. I would
Okay.
agree. I'd say at least a month, whatever your first meeting.
July 9th would be the 4 weeks from now. And again, if you haven't resolved with planning by that time, you can just ask to have it continued.
We don't have to show up. We can just ask for an.
Tell the office that you want to continue to the next meeting after that. In July and August, we only meet once each month, so then if it's not July 9th, it will be sometime around August 9th, somewhere in there. Okay,
And staff will provide, the planning staff with the comment that the commission is satisfied with the plan as presented this week.
right, barring no other changes demanded by planning. Okay. Okay, is everyone in agreement with that? Anybody have another comment to make? Okay.
I know it's been a long evening, but we appreciate your time very much.
Yes, and I've learned a lot through this whole discussion, I'll tell you that.
All right, you need to vote to continue.
Yes, can we have a motion to continue this NOI hearing until July 9th? Okay, one thing before we vote on that, just want to make sure for official purposes, this is a public hearing. There's nobody in the audience or online that wants to make a comment, and I don't see anybody but us online, so got that in the books. Okay, all in favor? Sarah, how do you vote to continue?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. 600. We'll continue for a month and hopefully be able to wrap this up.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, next up is administrative items, planning board comments. Obviously, we're going to submit something on the item we just discussed. Is there any other planning board comments that came out of this? Do we have to say anything about Middlesex Turnpike, or?
We'll just let them know that it opened and
Okay.
that we heard stormwater, and that we're waiting to hear what changes go in front of the planning board next about the
The fire
roadway.
department, yeah, the fire department design changes are possible, but it doesn't sound like they're going to be that significant if they are changed for that. Any subcommittee or staff reports? Anyone have other business?
I did see, I think it was the last select board meeting, there was a mention of the, I guess Eversource substation is coming up again.
Yep.
And I think they were saying, Eversource was saying that they have a public meeting, I think at the library on the 24th.
They had one before.
Yeah, there was one earlier, yeah, but I wasn't I didn't go through the materials, but I wasn't certain if there's changes between what we saw. I think we were doing the right-of-way wetlands delineation, miles of it. But yeah, I sort of, it wasn't quite, but I think it did seem to, their requirements, sort of conservation that sort of feature prominently, I think, for what they're proposing. I think something like 30 towers, a substation, and I wasn't sure if there's more than one substation exactly.
I don't think there was, but
Yeah, just the
where
one.
its location was going to be and all that stuff, yeah.
Access roads,
Yep.
a whole lot of.
Okay.
Sort of it looked like a large.
Oh, here it is here.
complicated project.
June 24th, 6 to 8 at Grandview Farm.
Oh, Grandview, I thought it was that.
I will plan to
That's-
attend if I
That was
can.
what I got an email. I can forward this on to you guys if you'd like.
8.
And, another thing, I think there was it might have been the same meeting, there was a detail of I think some Middlesex Turnpike potential, like, design ideas, I think. There was so it sort of had breaking up Middlesex Turnpike into sections about sort of walkability improvements, traffic improvements, but there was a certain, the section that borders Vine Brook, there was a little bit of talk about possible boardwalk or something. I had heard that that's sort of, I think one of Sarah's favorite issues too. Yeah, so there, some of what they were talking about, taking advantage of that, of the Vine Brook watershed resource area as a benefit, as like a community benefit for the town, for people transiting from one place. That's sort of interesting.
Cool. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Sarah, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Ed?
Yes.
Indra?
Definitely yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, 600. Thank you very much.